Righty, we're going live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube. Shout out to our people that'll be coming in on YouTube as well, too, guys. Tonight we're discussing the California Democrats setting aside $12 million for reparation in the budget. We're gonna talk about that tonight. I want to hear what people got to say about that. Last night, we were talking about the situation with Harvard and the actual study that took place talking about that the federal government could go ahead and actually pay for reparations. And also last night it discussed the actual different options in terms of financing and the different individuals that have benefited from reparations in this country. Tonight, we're going to focus on what they're doing out there in California, because I know all you guys, we've been up to date for the past year or so on the California reparations task force and everything going on. We've seen that the actual task force in California has inspired other states to at least, quote unquote, do a study. I think today I tweeted out something about DC study, and you got Washington State, the state of Washington. They're talking about, trying to go ahead and do a study as well, too. So studies are nice. Studies are fine. But as everybody say, cut the check. Where's the money at? Where the dollars at? So that's the only thing that really, really matters at the end of the day. You can study all you want to, but it really depends on what's going to be coming our way in terms of finances. So shout out to Wani. I see you up in the spot as well too. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to touch up on this. I'm going to go ahead and give our people a little bit of time to come up in here, but then I want to kind of go ahead and get it started. And I definitely want to hear what you guys got to say tonight as well too. So we definitely look forward to it as always. I know we got I know Amelia, I know when you get a chance sometimes you come up and speak, so I want to hear what you guys got to say as well too, man. It's always good to have informative speakers coming up and sharing their thoughts. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and touch up on this article. It's a very short article, very, very short, not long at all. And hopefully we'll get some of our people from California to come up in here as well too and discuss the actual what's going on out there as well too. Reached out to a couple people, but I'm not sure we're going to get any of them in the space tonight. But if not, we'll do what we do anyway. So California Democrats reach agreement of $12 million budget for Black reparations program. This is from one of our curation partners, the Neo Jim Crow. Governor Gavin Newsom and fellow Democratic leaders announced the budget, $12 million set aside to support reparation-related bills on the docket to pass in 2024. Legislators announced the impressive new budget on June 22nd with some of the specifics that go along with it. Allotted money will support several proposals, 15 in total, drafted by the Legislative Black Caucus, such as having the Golden State issue an apology for the pain and suffering inflicted on Black Californians during slavery. Assemblywoman Lori Wilson called the move a win because, in addition to the bills, the budget will support 2 constitutional amendments, including one that has yet to be drafted. Even in a challenging deficit year, we've had our leadership and the governor recognize the obligation of those impacted by slavery, Wilson said. The approval was exactly what Black lawmakers hoped for after a year-long battle following task force study results examining how lawmakers can enact reparations. However, not all residents are on board with the idea. In September 2023, a poll from the University of California, Berkeley revealed several residents were against Black residents receiving any form of reparations, including cash payments. 59% of participants rejected the cash payments idea. 76% of Black respondents were in favor, and 66% of white voters opposed the idea. While many Californians appear to be looking forward to the measure, which is the first of its kind at the state level, lawmakers are scheduled to take a statewide tour to discuss the study, the next steps, and what residents think. California Democrats started the conversation, and other state leaders are considering similar moves. In December 2023, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed a bill that would create a reparation commission to study the state's history of slavery and racism. Some of the other proposed bills align with creating the California American Freedman Affairs Agency created by Senator Steve Bradford. The new department will prevent the state from punishing prison inmates who refuse to work and curate a grant program that funds community efforts to limit crime in the neighborhoods and schools. Under Bradford's leadership, the agency will also investigate racially motivated eminent domain cases, which grants the government the power to take private property and convert it into public. According to the Los Angeles Times, Bradford has been working with the descendants of California residents who have lost out on financial gains from properties they were forced to sell. There are multiple examples of African American families who were forced off of their land for no other reason that they didn't want them there anymore, Bradford said. And now their homes have been replaced with freeways or parking lots, or as in Manhattan Beach, an alleged park that was 40 years before it even came into development. Bradford's reparation legislation would also determine how valid claims are brought up by families who feel their property was unjustly seized. The Office of Legal Affairs would take on cases to present potential remedies of offenders of eminent domain, such as having the property returned or monetary payments. All bills are expected to pass by the end of the legislation session on August 31st. So it seems like they're getting things moving in California. I put a poll out today, too. And let me put that poll up in the Jumbotron, guys. Let me find that poll real quick, guys, because I want to put it up on the Jumbotron. Some of you may have voted in it. Some of you may not have voted. And it's directly tied into the actual space tonight. Give me 1 second. I want to go ahead and put that up in there. All right. I just added it. It should appear in a second. You guys get a chance. I want you to go ahead and vote in that poll as well, too. So we see the situation with California taking place. We see everything that's going on out there. A lot of our people are kind of split on it. A lot of our people are split. A lot of our people saying, $12 million. What is $12 million going to do? And not only that, but who else is going to get a portion of this $12 million as well, too? A lot of other people say, hey, it's a start. It can go and it can fund the actual Freedman Bureau. So a lot of people are kind of split on it. Nobody, I haven't heard a whole bunch of people that's really, really, just dead set against it. But a lot of people are hesitant. A lot of people, we kind of to the point now I'll believe it when I see it type. As a matter of fact, I just put that poll up in the Jumbotron, guys. It's on the far left-hand side. If you haven't voted, go ahead and vote. And also retweet that poll out. It says, do you agree with the California $12 million budget for Black Reparations program? So far, we got 165 votes. There's 2 days left on it. 19% says yes. 15% said no. 61% says not enough money. 5% says I hate that idea. So make sure you go ahead and vote in that poll and retweet it out as well, too, because I definitely want to hear what you got to say. Or I definitely want to see what the actual results are. And I definitely want to hear what you guys got to say tonight about this as well, too. I see Rella's up in there. Rella, she is actually from California. Shout out to you, Rella. I see you up in the space. Shout out to Black Pressure as well, too. I know Rella, you don't stay out in Cali no more, but I know you may have some insight on the situation as well, too. So I know you do the night work thing. So when you get a chance to come on up here, definitely feel free to come on up here and share your thoughts and opinions. And like I said, a lot of our people, they kind of split on it. They kind of split on the actual thing. And a lot of our people are still split as well, too, because they feel like it's, a lot of people feel like the California thing is actually kind of detrimental to the federal reparations. In terms of federal reparations, that's an interesting topic in itself or whatever. I can't fault anybody for trying to get things going on the state level, guys. I believe that you have to have it. Of course, it has to be the federal government that's going to have to go ahead and get the reparation, get it legalized and everything else. But I can't really fault, because let's not act like states didn't have they didn't have their own slave laws, and they didn't have slavery in these states as well, too. So, and of course, I know you have a lot of white people saying that, it doesn't make any sense for California to do this, this reparation thing, because California wasn't even a slave state. So how's a state that wasn't a slave state, how are they going to have to pay reparations when there were no actual slaves there? Yeah. California did using the gold rush and everything else. They used slave labor too. And that's one thing that gets forgotten about as well, too, man. So shout out to everybody coming up in here. Make sure y'all go ahead and retweet this space out. Naheem, what's going on with you? I know you and the Freedman, you're doing your work out there as well, too. Not in California, but I know you guys are, are on the actual ground level as well, too. I see my girl Rera up here as well, too. Rera, what's going on with you tonight? I see you up in the actual space. As well, too. So I want to find some people in here that's from California. Some people that actually may have gone to some of the actual the reparation meetings and the task force meetings and all of that. I want to get some Californians' perspective on what's going on out there as well, too. if we got any people in here from California, I want to know what's up as well. And like I said, we today, DC, I tweeted out DC, they're talking about a reparations study. I know the state of Washington is talking about it. Every time we turn around and look, we got new states, new cities, new townships talking about creating a study, creating this, creating that, or whatever. What's your opinion about that? What's your opinion about the $12 million budget? Is that enough money, or is that just too low? Do we need to go ahead and add a few million more to that, or will that be sufficient to go ahead and get the actual Freedman Bureau up and running? Naheem, when you get a chance, I want to ask you about that too, about the Freedman Bureau and everything as well too. With that $12 million, exactly, because I know it's supposed to, there's so many different things that money's supposed to go to. Will that actually, where's the bulk of that money going to go to? Because I heard some people say that it was going to go to the actual Freedman Bureau, and I heard this and that or whatever. But does anybody particularly know what a bulk of the funds are going to actually go to, what's going to be applied to? If you do know that, let us know, because I'm not entirely sure myself, to be honest. But I know it's considered a win. They expect this to pass over there in the legislative as well too. We know California has a Democratic legislative. A lot of people consider this a big win for the actual Democrats. Let's see what kind of impact this is going to have nationwide. Because like I say, just as sure as you have more states that's actually looking to go ahead and get into this, you have other states that's kind of, I want to see how things happen here in the South. I'm in the South. I'm in Florida. And we know we move a lot slower in the South, especially the deep South, as compared to other parts of the actual country. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this stuff plays out as well too. Hey DJ, what's up? Are you up in the space? I know I see you up in there, but I'm not sure if you're in the actual space.
Yeah, I'm up here. Shout out to Newstoter By, check 1212.
Hey, and to your knowledge, DJ, the $12 million, I don't know how familiar you are with the actual, how this budget and everything, the breakdown of how it's supposed to work or whatever, but do you know exactly how much of that's, because they talk about the actual Freedman Bureau, how much of that's actually going to be directed towards creating the actual Freedman Bureau as well too? Because I heard somebody today say, a couple people say that it was going to be going to the Freedman Bureau, but I don't think all $12 million is going to be going there.
Right, for sure on that one. And like I said, I haven't had a chance to actually look at that article. I'm actually just getting to the studio right now. It's a badass storm coming through here in New Jersey. So give me 2 seconds. I'll let you know.
All right. Appreciate that. Yeah. So I want to know exactly how much of the actual money is broken now and why so little. I know some people say beggars can't be choosy, but why only $12 million? $12 million seems like such a small amount of money that they allotted as well too. And I know California is having some financial issues out there as well too. But I think that $40-50 million would have been at least a nice starting block if you're talking about just a budget for the actual programs. But then I want to know, like I say, we got an apology also that they're supposed to be ushering up as well too. So that'll be that's interesting. A lot of people think that in order for you to get the reparations, that they have to make a formal apology. I guess they cite some of the actual past cases in world history, U.S. history, that whenever reparations was paid to a group of people, an apology was always first and foremost. I wonder, is there any case where you had an apology actually issued and these people still kind of wavered on what they were going to do? So that's another thing. The apology will be big as well too. We need to try to get that apology in terms of a national apology. One of my people on YouTube says $12 million is pennies only. A fool would take that, and Black Americans aren't dummies. Well, I mean, I agree with you. $12 million is not a whole lot of money when you're talking about funding and the budget or whatever. But at this point in time, I'm not exactly sure. We would have to have some of our people actually crunch the numbers and think and tell us exactly what would be a decent amount of money in terms of actually getting the funding and everything else done as well too. So I'm just, I'm a little bit off on the $12 million. I wish it would have been more money than that, but at the same time, I want to know exactly, make sure that the actual programs they're talking about, because they started talking about reparations programs. And even when you started talking about the eminent domain, and we talked about that one night when Camilla Moore was up in the actual space when we were talking about that, the eminent domain, because there's a situation going on out there in California right now, like I mentioned in a space a while ago. You have a group of people out there that when you had Dodger Stadium built, they did eminent domain. And it was an area that, the newspaper only mentions that it was mainly Hispanics out there, but I also heard it was a number of black people that lived in that area as well too. So they're trying to go ahead and get reparations. They attach reparations to everything. Anytime it's a payment now, everything is reparations. But they're saying that those people that were pushed out of that area for them to build Dodger Stadium are due reparations as well too. So that's another thing I'm thinking about as well too. If you start throwing the eminent domain tag around, I mean, is that eminent domain solely going to be for Black Americans? Is going to solely be for Black? Because if we talk about a Black reparations program, you can't give eminent domain to every other minority group as well too that's been wrong. So I'm kind of, I kind of want to see exactly where this is going at as well too, because I think I did express it, Camilla. That was one when I heard that in the actual conversation we had with her before. That was something that was kind of somewhat troubling there, somewhat troubling, because when you have that sometimes you have these vague terms and stuff like that. That's how you're able to squeeze people into this to something they really have no business being squeezed into as well. DJ, go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, okay, so I did read this article on Newstoter.com too, y'all. Newstoter.com, largest Black curated news on the web. So I did read this article. This $12 million is not for reparations in the sense to hand out to residents, because we already know and understand that's a lowball number. This $12 million is set aside for reparations related bills. So if they have to have like another Bruce's Beach type study, there's money in the pot for that. If they have another study, for reparations in general, find out what happened in California with Black residents in general, there'll be money in the kitty for that. So, and just to give you another context of the title, Gavin Newsom and fellow Democratic leaders announced that the budget, $12 million set aside to support reparations-related bills on the docket to pass in 2024. So this is just a bill to allocate money to start passing bills itself, because that take money. And this is something that our elder, Dr. Claude Anderson, has always said to us 1,000 times, who got a new documentary about to drop out of way too. Shout out to that.
Oh, he got a new documentary coming out?
Yeah, man. The trailer on that one. Woo! That y'all like 5 minutes long too, bro. Woo!
Now, I thought Dr. Claude went in the best to help, but okay.
Nah, he fired up, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? He got more smoke than everybody in this room right now, you know what I mean? So, shout out to the big bro, Dr. Claude Anderson, Powernomics. So, go over to his YouTube channel. You'll see the trailer right at the top of the video thing. So, this is just money that's going to be allocated to right bills. So, again, Elder Dr. Claude Anderson is correct, in my opinion. Buy your politicians, yo. Just buy these people. You know what I'm saying? That way you can get what you want done. What the heck we voting for? And you kind of right to a certain extent, you know what I mean? So, I don't know if you was going to read the whole article or not, but just to go over that one paragraph.
I already read the whole thing, but you can touch up on it.
That was pretty much it. And that, the $12 million is set aside to support reparations-related bills. That's on the docket already in 2024, which we know there are a lot of reparations, different docket numbers, like, the basic AB 3121. There were some other dockets that were going on throughout California within the last year or two. Some of them we had to veto and get up out of there. So let's see, what is it? Legislation announced the president new budget on the June 22nd with something specific to go along with it, a lot of money that will support. Yeah, so it's a lot of money that will support several proposals, 15 in total. So, this is 12 million going to 15 other studies, I guess, you know what I'm saying, or proposals on how to propose reparations to Black residents in California, drafted by the Legislative Black Caucus. Oh boy, you know what I'm saying? You already know that's Narcan and Cobra at this point, the Boulay gang, you know what I mean? Such having to go to state apology for pain and suffering. We keep talking about the apologies. At this point, keep the apologies. Just cut the check at this point. Y'all can apologize later after y'all don't put that money in our direct deposit.
Let me ask you about that part, DJ, about the apology, and I'm gonna get to you, Rella. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people feel like that.
California system. Go ahead, though.
But a lot of people feel like that in order to get reparations, that you have to have a formal apology. Do you believe that?
No, because when you really think about it, how many Germans was really out here apologizing to the Jewish people for putting their own people, technically they was Germans, you know what I'm saying, just happened to be German Jews, for putting their own people in bondage, slavery, Holocaust, all this other stuff. Yeah, they might apologize, but at the end of the day, they getting stipends. from countries that the Holocaust did not even happen in. So what do we need an apology for at this point? Is Africa going to apologize for selling us to Europeans and Arabs? Or they just want to give up the land and just not, don't worry about it. You see they're trying to get us to repatriate back to Africa. Kenya and Ghana and Senegal, they all trying to get Black Americans to go over there to build up their land and their homeland in their country. Nah, we're good over there because we still waiting on the slave rescue ship to come on over here and get us. People done died, you know what I'm saying? Our elders done suffered. Like, nah, we good. We ain't going back over there, at least not to live as much. Some folks may do it to get away from America. You know what I mean? The terrorism we face here as Black people. But for the most part, hey, cut our check so that way we can spend our money within our economy. Jim Crow Joe letting all these illegals in here, they spending the money outside of the economy. They don't spend it within the economy. So how is that even helping? But these, we was having a discussion on Robbie. Shout out to Robbie Blue. We was having a discussion on his podcast early this morning about something very similar. That these folks, they're just vicious, and they don't really care. You feel what I'm saying? So go ahead, Rella, if you want to talk. I'll pause it. I gotta go close these windows. It's bad up here in the tri-state with this storm right now. Close y'all windows, family.
No. All right, be safe up there. What's going on with you, Miss Rella, tonight? And I want to hear, like I say, Naheem, I see you up in here, not to put you on the spot, but like the actual question about the Freedmen's Bureau as well, too. If you got a chance to comment on it, I would love to hear you. What's up, Black Majority State? You always drop knowledge as well, too. Love to get you up here when you get a moment. I know a lot of y'all sometimes on that second job or you working at night and you guys can't get up here right away or whatever. But when you get a chance, definitely want to hear what you guys got to say. I tried to get Camilla Moore, but I never heard anything back. I'm not sure she's going to be coming up into space tonight. So definitely, guys, if you get a chance, definitely come on up here. Go ahead, Rella. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I think he went to go close his door.
Say that again?
I think he went to go. He said he got a storm up there, so I think he went to go close his windows and stuff.
Yeah, be safe. And don't send that stuff down this way. Keep it up there.
So now, Rella, of course you Rella, you from California, so I definitely I'm definitely glad to have you up here tonight as well too. So just share your thoughts and any insight that you may have. Exactly, this $12 million, like DJ said, we know it's not. Of course, $12 million can't go to the people because what are you talking about? A bunch of pennies or whatever. But exactly this budget and everything else. Just give us your opinion on that and exactly where are these funds going to be headed to, and are they going to actually? I know they're talking about creating a Freedmen's Bureau, but is that a real fact? Is that really going to happen?
So I'm in agreement, and definitely shout out to the family back home in California, Los Angeles to be specific, Inglewood, to all the Kendrick Lamar fans. I want to say that I'm in agreement with the Freedmen's Agency, not necessarily being called the Bureau. I believe it's called the Freedmen's Agency. And this is legislation that was actually being put together and supported by people like Senator Stephen Bradford, who's actually been putting forth a lot of the bills in alignment with the report that was completed by the commissions. So these set-asides, though, particularly one by him, these were by, I think, from my understanding, was the Democratic representatives who were introducing the $103 billion budget for the state of California. They just included a $12 million budget for specific related reparation items, as DJ did lay out in his submission. So I'm in agreement with it, and I'm in agreement with more funds to be coming at a later date for other initiatives that will be going on according to Senator Bradford's bills that he put forward. I will also put the link, Newstoter and the Purple Pill, so that people can see the bills that Senator Bradford is putting forth that is going to require and need funding. So California has one of the highest, if not the only highest GDP in the country. We talk about the immigration issue in California, but in regards to the money that California does bring in its budget, as big as it is, I believe it's about 297.6 billion or something like that. They have the money to meet all the demands for the bills put forth by the senator. So with that being said, I'm in agreement with it. I know the first initial number of 12 million that's going to be utilized, it's probably going to be utilized for specific things. And hopefully it will be put forth for descendants, people who maybe are in need of those resources for different projects. I'll have to look more into that to give you some specifics. But as of right now, they haven't put out what the money will be used for specifically. They just said it was reparations related. So that's all I have for that. Yeah.
So we got to make. Oh no! I thought I was going to add. So we got to make sure that this money is totally going to be going totally 100% to the reparations program. Because, like I said before, when Camilla was in the space and she was talking about all of the stuff that about it. It was at that gray area that I was a little bit concerned about when they started talking about the eminent domain. And I just wanted to know, like, is it eminent domain? Are we talking about eminent domain that have impacted Black people? We're not talking about eminent domain that impacted all Californians, because then you have a big loophole where anybody can slide in there as well.
Right, but you have to remember, you're talking to a president who was on the commissions, but at the same time, you're also speaking to an attorney. An attorney is going to give you the general consensus of what eminent domain did for people at the time it was implemented and still on the books. So I do believe that she understands specifically that you're talking about for descendants, right? And it's crazy because when you get into politics in the way that California is structured, we don't have a majority power in the state of California. So the language when you're talking to someone in office that is Black American or that is a descendant, it's going to sound like an all lives matter type response. But they're talking about how they're actually having to navigate the landscape of California in politics. It's not like you're going to another state where majority of the people are Black and they just kind of are ignoring the people or doing what they did down in Evanston's, where they had a majority Black panel, and they still kind of managed to kind of fudge that up. So it's not the same conversation. I think we're looking at reparations happening across the country in different areas, and when you're talking to people, the language is going to be different based on how they're having to navigate the politics. But I know for sure Camilla understood that you're talking about eminent domain as it stands for what happened to the families, the descendants in California.
Now, even Camilla said that, she said, I can understand how that could be troubling and how that could be broad as well, too. And I'm just paraphrasing because, that space was over a month or so ago, so I can't exactly remember. But she even herself, she was like, well, yeah, I can understand that as well, too. I was specifically like, the eminent domain, that's a great thing to have added in there. But I would like it to be specifically tied to the whole reparation thing, meaning like, hey, we're talking about eminent domain, land taken from actual descendants of people of chattel slavery, Black Americans. I wanted to be worded that way, because if you don't word it that way, people can always come back. And one thing about the law and stuff, people can always find loopholes and ways to slide it in. Like I was mentioning earlier, you got those people, the Latinos that were, I guess, in the 50s or 40s, whenever they created a new Dodger Stadium, they got booted out. Of course, you did have some Black people there as well, too, but people were saying, hey, they're entitled to reparations, eminent domain, and this and that as well. So I want to make sure that that anything that they enact, that you're not going to have other groups out there that can go ahead and find a way to nudge themselves into that as well, to say, well, the wording of the law is so broad that, we were able to go ahead and fit in here as well, too. So we got to be a little bit careful of that.
No, I'm in agreement with you. Language always matters. That's the reason why lineage-based is what it is. And the term, it has to be in the lexicon and documentation when it comes to legalities. But at the same time, as you stated, It wasn't just eminent domain. You're talking about taxes. They were able to come in and buy property if the taxes were due. So there were different avenues that were a part of the reason why people were able to come in and take property. Even probate. Probate is one of the bigger issues in California, where people can come in and they can and take property from families or away from families. So for the descendant community, I do agree. We need to make sure we cover all avenues of points of entry that people have been able to siphon resources and assets from under our community. So I'm in agreement with you.
One thing that I look forward to, one of the first things I look forward to show the actual seriousness, is that them actually forming the actual Freedman Affairs or Freedman Bureau, whatever you want to call it, and also the actual makeup.
Yeah.
And the actual makeup of people as well. Go ahead, Rella.
Yes, I would want the agency to be formed and be ran by descendants, and also be posted that you can only be of a descendant in the lineage in order to even move into positions to actually help do outreach. I'm not saying other people can assist, but I believe that the main power and the control of the agency has to be the descendants. It should be the descendants. And then there should be, oversight to make sure that we're also getting the resources that they are aligning. Like I said, Senator Bradford has put up these bills to align to also go into an effect for the agency. So, yeah.
Well, I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. Like I say, that's one of the first things that I'd like to see done. And I would like to see, of course, we want to implement it all over the country as well, too. But, since right now California is in the lead with it, I definitely want to see the actual Freedman Affairs, Freedman Bureau, however you want to title it. I want to see that actually take place as well, too. I want to see that to be the actual one of the first key things that they go ahead and set up as well, too. I want to see the actual makeup of it, and I want to see it get done first and foremost as well, too, because I think once you see that, then you'll start having a lot of people actually believing that, hey, this is a very, very real, feasible thing as well, too. Now, like I say, I know you're going to have a...
Can I add one more thing, Newstoter? I need people to not push back so much on the states, because the states would not have been able to do the things that they did without the federal government, and it doesn't mean that they didn't. So state level reparatory, compensatory justice should be happening. I'm not of the mindset of not calling it reparations, because reparations is what it is a monetary response to harms that were done to someone or a people or group of people, but recognizing that reparations on a federal level, because they run parallel with each other, the state and the federal government, they are two different conversations, in the sense that the federal government is heavily responsible, and that with even a $12 million response from the Democratic Party in the state of California proposing that to be something implemented with Gavin Newsom, that the federal government should be matching that by $46 billion. That is just my opinion. That's my opinion, because when it comes to all areas of harm, we haven't even calculated reproductive genocide. We have not calculated real estate and assets that were lost. We haven't calculated any of those numbers. And so with the way that the federal government has been spending money and sending money to other countries, foreign nations, and also coming up with money to even help immigrants to come into the country, they should be good for it. And even if it's not $46 billion, that number sounds, too out of this world for people, it should be along the lines of at least $22 billion going to the state of California, and then for every other state, likewise. So all I'm saying is, we should definitely be looking at the numbers from the federal government and the states, towns, and local governments separately, but they are a form of reparations in their own way. Some people just don't want to call it that. So you can call it repair, recompense, whatever. It all still means the same. It's under the same term.
Yeah, and to just go what you're saying as well too. like I say, I don't have an issue with us trying to mobilize on the state area. I know it's going to have to be federal for the simple fact is that if you just look at the finances, like when you're talking about California and the GDP that California has, I think California is what, the eighth or ninth largest economy in the entire world?
They're fourth.
Fourth? Okay, my bad.
They were six. They were six, but I think they moved into four as a state by itself. If they were compared to the world, yeah, they're in fourth place.
And that's what I'm talking about. California, and they're in terms of the states and stuff like that, most of the states, the vast majority of the states they don't have the economics that California have. And the ones that do in the South, when you're talking about Florida and you're talking about Texas, even though Texas is Southwest, Black Pressure, I know you're in here. I got to say y'all Southwest. But these states have an enormous economy. But these states are redneck as hell. They're red. They're beyond red. They're blood raw. So, and that's another thing. You're going to have the federal government intervene, because if you're talking about coming here to the deep South, you talk about Mississippi, you're talking about Alabama, you're talking about Louisiana, you're talking about Florida, you're talking about Tennessee and South Carolina, hell, even Georgia. I know everybody wants to look at Atlanta, but Atlanta ain't all of Georgia. Okay. When you look at these states right here, you're going to have the federal government come in here, because these states in the South, and even and I'm not even going to keep it to the South, because even these states in the North, even up there in New York and stuff like that, you got a whole lot of people complaining and griping and moaning and stuff like that as well too. So yeah, we look at the South and we say, well, the South is more racist, and well, yeah, even these states in the Midwest and the North and out and the far West and everything else, they're not too keen on giving Black people reparations anyways. So you're going to have it. It's going to have to be a federal law that's going to be mandated. But like I say, I like the action that California is taking. And I know some people say they consider that the actions that these states are taking, they consider to be detrimental in terms of actual, the reparations for everybody nationwide and stuff. But, most of the time activism happens on a local to state level anyways. And then it goes to the federal level, it starts getting attention. So you got to go ahead and you got to at least push it and get that fight going on the state, local level. So, I applaud them for that right there. And hopefully it just carries over, and it's starting to carry over. It's starting to have a carryover effect that all of these states, and some of them are just doing it for show, I think some of these people are doing it for show because it's close to election time and they think that it's the end thing to do. Like, okay, well, we'll just create a study too, and then that'll shut them up or whatever. But we can't let these people just create a study and then act like they've done their part for reparations, because that's what a lot of them want to do. They say, oh yeah, well, we studied it and we came to the conclusion that it doesn't work. So we can't have that. We got to go ahead and keep pushing forward as much as possible on this as well too. So I'm in agreement with you. But I just know, like you say, California, when you look at probably the biggest economies in this country in terms of the states would be California, it'd be Texas, it'd be Florida, it'd be New York. Georgia would be up in that area as well too, but it's not quite with those states right there. But California leads the way because California is so big, and the agriculture impact that it has as well too. And you talk about the Silicon Valley, Hollywood. You're talking about so many different things that California has that a lot of these other states don't have. On top of having the most people of any state in the actual union. So California, and we're talking about a state that's fourth. Which you say fourth in terms of the globally, in terms of their economy, that's something really. And I know they're talking about California kind of hit a deficit or whatever this year or whatever. But hey, like I say, it's not going to happen in the deep South, because could you imagine the state of Florida where I'm about to say Rick Scott, but the other fool, Ron DeSantis up here. Ron DeSantis has done everything he can to try to erase Black people out of history. Do you actually think Ron DeSantis and a Republican-led legislator here in Florida, the state is already mostly red, besides maybe a few counties, Miami or Dade County goes back and forth. Dade County, can be red too, but Broward County and Palm Beach and Leon County and a few counties spread throughout on the west side of the state, and maybe a couple in the Panhandle. It's not going to really fly. You're going to have that federal. You're going to have that federal law to make it. And these people are going, they're going to try as much as they can to fight it as much as possible. Go ahead, Rella. And we got Rella up here as well, too, guys. Like I say, feel free to come on up here and speak. I see it's a number of y'all in here. Shout out. I see my girl Trouble up in here as well, too. The discussion, some of you guys know the discussion like the back of your hand. We talking about California. We talking about this $12 million budget. for these Black reparation programs. A lot of you guys are doing excellent work out there on the actual in the actual real world, and it's a shout out to all of you guys that's doing that. But we definitely would love to hear your expertise and just your opinion on this situation, this topic tonight, because hey, like I said, it does impact all of us, even though we may not live in California. But hey, we're definitely rooting for the situation over there, because we want to see it implemented statewide and nationwide as well too. So definitely feel free, come on up here, get on the microphone. I'm going to let you go ahead and speak. We're not going to interrupt you. We're going to let you go ahead and get your point across, and we want to hear what you guys think. But go ahead, Rella, you got it.
Yeah, and so I wanted to just put out there. So California is noted to be on the by the the governor's office their economic department notated that they are at 3.8 trillion. This week alone, the numbers have changed or fluctuated to be about 6.1% or higher. So they're about 3.9 trillion for their GDP. California is good for it. And if anything, the biggest issue for me is that, Black Americans have been pushed out of California by way of, foreign populations and their input into the political system. And we've been seeing that, I think, all across the country. The biggest discussion right now is either foreign countries or foreign people who are in politics who now are looking for another way to govern or colonize the country. And I think what we're seeing is if people wanting to get into position to either thwart the repair of Americans, and when I say Americans, I'm talking about the descendants. And when the descendants get our repair, it will fortify our country. And that is the piece where it's like you can't really sell that any better to the per capita crowd, because either they're really, really ignorant or they're not really true for America. You understand what I'm saying? So there's always been this, love-hate relationship with America and then who Americans are. But when you look at the way in which America has been constructed, Americans' reparations game has always been about giving money to the wrong. I mean, there's a long list of people, groups of people America has actually repaired and given money to and refortified their foundation for their community. Now, if America wanted to be a true superpower, they would actually make sure that the oldest Americans in this country, which are the descendant community, would be fortified to the point where we would be able to control not only the power of our own politics, but even repairing the harms that were done centuries ago. And that is the problem I'm seeing right now with other foreign people coming into the country, is they are taking the road of supremacy to speak against that being done for America. Because people in the country are from stabilized by.
Sound like you're in the Matrix. Yeah, sound like you got in the Matrix, Rella.
I'm here. Can you hear me still or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I'm going to land here and say this. I do believe that people who are in office who have been a thorn in the reparations discussion, even for people who are on the Pan-African side of the house, who believe in, we should repair everybody, they are speaking from a foreign national or foreign nation type place. And it will further destabilize the country, because you're talking about people who do not want to invest in making sure that our communities in America are strong enough to fight supremacy and fight genocide. But you're talking about people who also may have proximity to politicians, or they're in office, like the Colombian woman who is trying to get in office up there up north, and who is talking about reparations. It's for people that should be, kicked out the country if that's something you believe. You're looking at people who are foreign invaders, who are trying to stifle us. And that is a problem. That is a huge problem.
Real quick, let me give a shout out to Sharon and Brother Moku for their contributions on Cash App. Kirk, how you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, thanks for the mic. I was wondering if you guys wanted to see a picture of my penis.
All right, I guess we got us a troll up in here. So, Kirk, we'll go ahead and we'll remove you from the speaker. Nobody wants to see your 2-inch willy, so go ahead and go back to the trailer park. Go get you a Coors Light and take you a nap for the night, Kirk. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to see it. Go show it to your boyfriend.
Hey, Toto, I was just about to say, I knew that was going to be one of them, man, because there's a bunch of them that are making these profiles with black faces. A bunch of them.
Yeah, as soon as we heard the voice, it was no doubt who that was, but yeah, that's the only thing. These type of spaces will start bringing out the trolls. So hey, it is what it is. But that's because they're in fear of what's actually going on. So shout out to Kirk. Kirk, go ahead and get you a hit of that fentanyl and take a nap for the night. I see Black Majority State. Black, I know you got your hand up, but did you want to say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Man, I've had a long couple of weeks. Going from night to day is a.
I was about to say that. Hey, Day Walker.
I know it's brutal, and I'm just lucky I got a day off tomorrow, so I'll get to sleep in a little bit. But in terms of the space, a $12 million budget, it sounds like a good start. Without knowing all the details of it and really not taking a whole lot of time on it because, it just sounds like a starter pack is how I would describe it. I did put in the purple pill. This is like a budget report. And so in this budget report, because I think I heard someone saying how, it should come from the federal government, and I agree with that to an extent, but I also agree that these states and other municipalities, as well as colleges and other institutions, also need to pay some form of restitution for the crimes that they are culpable for. But in this budget, they basically break down that the California budget includes $211 billion, $211.5 billion of the general fund spending, $86.4 billion of spending from other state funds, and then $153 billion from federal funds. Now, California being a very large state, they get a lot of federal funding, $153 billion of federal funds. And so all of these states get some type of federal funding, and this is the connection that I think most of us don't really connect when we're talking about this. And for those who like to make the argument that these state-based reparations are not federal, or somehow, some way it'll affect the federal, yada, yada, yada. I wholeheartedly disagree with that because states get federal funding. It is a vital part of how these states operate. And in fact, some of these states would not be able to operate without the federal funds. So regardless of how they put together these reparations funding packages, however it is doled out, in many ways, some of that money is going to be coming from the federal government at the state level, because again, they're going to take whatever revenues they get in their state, and it all goes into a general fund, let's say, and those federal funds are not necessarily segregated or designated in a way that you could, at the end of the day, say, well, none of the federal funds went to this particular thing or this particular thing or that particular thing. So it is connected. I mean, this is sort of the construction of the country And again, I'll say this: this is why the power of the states is mandatory. It has been mandatory, but as we get deeper and deeper and deeper into the understanding of it, it is absolutely mandatory. Everything else, and just so we all understand this, I hope we understand this. I hope it penetrates. Everything else is like putting a Band-Aid on a severed limb. Literally. That's the only way to look at it. Whatever else is done in this system, in these multitude of systems, it is just going to be a Band-Aid until we get to the level of state authority and we have this relationship with the federal government that is really on an equal footing in every way, shape, and form as the Constitution lays out. So, I salute California. I mean, on my timeline, it was something in Athens that was kind of directly related to some descendants that were harmed there. I think that was connected to a college. And then someone else posted something in Seattle where they got a reparations thing started there. So it's heating up. It's moving in the direction that it's supposed to be moving. And here's a real important insight. So the state gets federal funds, and those funds trickle down to the counties and to the cities and the townships. If the cities and the townships are getting any money out of the state in any way, shape, or form, they're also eating off of the federal funding, as well as if the federal government has infrastructure, military bases, VA hospitals, whatever that the federal government is doing in that state, in a local municipality, it's feeding that local municipality. This is a very interconnected system, and so anyone who takes the time could make an argument that even in Evanston, Illinois, as small of a city or town that is, that if you look into their budgets over a decade, you're going to find federal funds that come into that municipality. And someone could make the argument that even that is coming from the federal government. So I really hope that people can understand the power of the state and how important, vitally, critically important it is for Black Americans to have that power. Because, again, everything else is a Band-Aid. Like, truly, if you severed someone's head off and you put a Band-Aid on it.
We might be in the Matrix, guys. Hold on one second. There we are in the Matrix. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For a second, I was kind of in the Matrix. I didn't know Black was talking, and when I came back, he had stopped talking. So, okay. I missed the last bit you had said, Black, because I was kind of in the Matrix, but I thought I might still be in the Matrix. Okay. But I appreciate you coming up here as always, Black. Definitely appreciate you coming up here as always. So we got the Black Vanguard coming up here as well, too. Like, are people so quiet tonight? Like, why y'all so quiet? Last night, y'all were a little bit more talkative. Tonight, everybody's quiet. But definitely, like I say, guys, we definitely want to hear what you guys got to say. So definitely come on up here. Black Vanguard, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, that's good about the $12 million budget. I would say that they get way more than $12 million. Because they giving these illegals in California alone. If they just pass a bill, they giving all the illegals that come from Latin America, China, they giving them Social Security. And that's cost $1 billion. And then they give them free health care in California. That costs $1 billion. Then they give them the DACA program, which cost taxpayers $9 billion. I would say that's a good start, though, with the tax payment reparations program. That's a real good start, though. And also, we need to make sure it's lineage-based. We have to make sure that other people don't infiltrate it, because if they do, then you got a lot of these African and Caribbeans that are trying to say they're Black American. That's why we need to be real careful about. But I'm glad we got the language right, though. But we need to be real careful about allowing the boule to get their hands on it, though, because one thing about the boule is that the grassroots advocated you gonna have them D9 boule organizations or the NAACP. We gotta watch out for them too, because they might try to infiltrate, might try to get their hands on it too. And we definitely can't allow the D9 Greek organizations or the NAACP to get a hold of it, or these immigrants, though, because. And also,
well, I mean, if it's going through the government, I don't know if the NAACP is going to be able to get their hands on it. They shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but we gotta be distinctly real careful too about that, and also about the Freedman Bureau. Though, we need to make sure we verify everybody's lineage though too, because that's important. Because right now you got a lot of these African Caribbeans trying to pretend like they us and stuff like that. Have y'all seen pictures of how they have a picture of America Rome and they have a picture of their flag? You do with Caribbeans and Africans that try to pretend they from us though. So.
Well, I think the grassroots just have to, just be vocal about it. Since we're getting all of this stuff, we're trying to get it done. I think that you need to be vocal and say, hey, we need this to be headed up by the actual lineage as well, too. So, it would help the people in California, the people that's fighting for reparations. They need to open their mouth and say, you know what, we need to have our people in charge of the actual bureau as well, too. We need to be in positions of leadership. And we need to be the ones actually making the decisions and actually running it.
Also, yeah, and Cobra. And also, I'm glad we made it lineage based though too, because we made it race based. That would struck it down. The Supreme Court would strike it down if we made it race based. So that's why we did lineage based. Because the Cobras and narcs, people gotta be careful about the reparations task force going on in Chicago because they try to make it race based. On purpose, that means the Supreme Court can strike it down. That's why we wanted lineage based though, so they can't strike it down. But you got to watch out for the Cobra and Narc, all these D9 Greek boule organizations though, because they huge problem too. But that's a good start though. It's a number on that too. I guess the Democrats are slowly starting to realize that if you don't give us our cash paper reparations, the anti-Black American hate crime bill, you ain't getting our vote. That's the only way that's going to be able to save the Democratic Party if they give us our cash paper reparations. That's the only way they'll be able to save them. If the Democrats don't do that, they finish in November and they know that. So that's a good start. I would say it needs to be way more than $12 million. They need to be hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, because they give these illegals in California alone billions of dollars a year. And one thing I'm understanding, these Hispanics, though, they're going to have a lot of opposition for them too as well. It's okay for their people to get free stuff off the government in New York. They giving them $1,000 debit cards a month in New York City, which is $53 million a budget a year, and they're not saying nothing to them. Even the Hispanics that's Republican, they sign that stuff silence. Plus, that means they want their people. It's okay for their people to come out here illegally get free stuff off of taxpayer dollars, though. But when we ask for something that's owed to our people got a problem with that. People got a problem with all that money getting sent to Israel, Ukraine, all the $100 billion getting spent on Israel, Ukraine. People have a problem about our tax dollars going towards the illegals coming from Latin America and China and India, all these other countries around the world. That's all I got to say for now.
All right. Appreciate that, Black Vanguard. Appreciate that. I want to read real quick because Camilla Moore, she DM'd me. She had a previous engagement, but I want to go ahead and read what she said real quick. It was just she DM'd me. She said, I agree with the article 12 million. And she's talking about a similar article. She's like, I agree with the article 12 million is a start and more than any other state has done in recent memory, but more can and should be allocated. That's where we as the grassroots advocates come in. And I told her I definitely agree with that. So yeah, we, the money right now, I know a lot of us, you're not big on it. but I think you got to go ahead and keep pushing, keep pushing. I think if we keep pushing that, things will, they can increase that as well too. So we definitely need to go ahead and keep pushing that. Rella, go ahead. DJ, I saw your DM as well too. But Rella, you got it. And like I say, let's get some other people up here to speak as well too, guys. Like, I mean, this is a reparations space, and I definitely thought we would have a quote unquote a meeting of the minds. If we got any people in here from Cali up in here as well too, guys, anybody that's knee deep in the reparations movement, grassroots on the actual ground and stuff like that, come on up here, share. If you know anything, if you saw anything about it, anything else, come on up here, just share your actual opinion about it as well too. I know a lot of us may not completely understand exactly what's going to be in that budget and stuff, but come on up here and share your thoughts and opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me go ahead and get to Miss Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm glad that Camilla was able to give you a statement, because to be honest, it's almost as if like I need people to understand the power is in the hands of the people. And if the people would actually show up and get into state power, it would make a big difference. And again, California.
Well, that's why, Rella, I was trying to get, I can hear. That's one reason I was trying to get Camilla to come up in here, because, her being in California and being on a task force and everything else, I wanted to try to get somebody, that had a certain level of expertise on the matter as well, too. But go ahead, Rella, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And I agree. And I would love to hear from Camilla at this juncture, because, it allows us to see what room she's been able to get into, the people she's been able to talk to, again, in California. Because when you look at the $12 million budget for reparations implementation legislation, I need people to hear me say that. It is not for the reparations commission's work that was done. It is for the implementation, meaning that money would go to the work that needs to be done through legislation. So by Senator Bradford putting up legislation and laying the groundwork to get bills put on the books in California for the state, that creates a ladder effect for us to get money, not just from the state set-asides that are given by the federal government, but now there is a lane for the people who are going to take that information to go to the federal government and say, if they're in a political position, they're going to say, we need X amount of dollars for this here, because this has been proven by law was a harm and an effect, and we need money to address this harm. So the number has to be a large number for the federal government to step in my opinion. But if it's broken down in a series of phases or series by series of bills, we need someone in position of authority or in position of representation for us, like I said, like Senator Bradford, to put those bills in place. There has been a list of reparations or reparative work that has been done from the 1700s to now, but not in this way, not in the lane that we're talking about it in regards to now. It's been documented. It's on record. So California has done something that is very, very historical. I always give love and shout out to Callie House, who laid the foundation, her and Reverend Isaiah Dickerson, because it allows us to see how even an organization was able to get itself in a position to get people to put money somewhere and to navigate on how to be a collective unit. So in that regard, I appreciate California doing what they're doing. It is not state power. No, it's not. But I do recognize that the positions of politics has when it comes to us getting our repair and the importance of voting for people who are representative of you. I want to hopefully we get a chance to talk about what happened with the whole Jamal Bowman situation, but I know this is just about the California set-aside.
Lost.
But if we get a chance to open it up, I have my 2 cents, but I'll leave it and say this. If you continue to lobby for other people will continuously colonize and get your stuff. So the power is in us. We have to show up, and we have to be willing to make sure that we get representation so we can get the things that we need. And we do need state power. So I'll let it.
All right. Thank you, Miss Rella. Thank you. Black, I see you came back up here as well, too. So I'll go ahead and let you get it. I see FBA Goddess came up here. FBA Goddess, if you want to speak, definitely raise your hand and we will get you up here as well, too. We can touch the Jamal Bowman thing up as well, too, Rella as well, too. So we'll get to that. If you want to touch up on that, we'll get to that as well. You got it. Matter of fact, let me get FBA Goddess since she's a new speaker. I get her and then I'll get to you, Black.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions real quick. I see there's low numbers. So my question is, I was just listening as far as, I guess that's what Rella was speaking. I wasn't in the car, so I didn't see who was speaking.
You're a little bit low. You're a little bit low, FBA. Can we get you a little bit louder?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're just low. But go ahead.
Anyway.
Get off your Bluetooth if you want to talk to your phone.
All right, hold on.
Give FBA Goddess 1 second. It sounds like she's.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I was saying that as far as the low number, that $12 million number, I was wanting to know what it was actually for. Is this money to go towards to see whether reparations is going to be paid out, or what is this number for? Because, to look and see, that stuff is over to me. I mean, right now we at a point to where we need to move past that as far as looking and seeing. So if you could answer that for me, because I didn't have a chance to look into this at all. So, and I wasn't here if you read off the article. Thank you.
All right. Well, it's basically just for the actual programs. It's not actually going to the actual people. The $12 million itself, it's just part of a budget to go ahead and push the actual reparation programs. From my understanding, it's not going to be given to the actual citizens or to the actual descendants, but it's actually for these programs to go ahead and perhaps the Freedman not Bureau Freedman Affairs and other I guess other red tape and stuff like that as well, if you want to say that, but it's not actually going to be going to the actual descendants. $12 million, I know it's not a whole lot of money. With the most what we say is just a start, but hopefully, and California has a budget where they could have put more money in there as well too. But no, it's not actually going to the actual descendants. It's just the actual programs, quote unquote, that's surrounding the actual reparation programs, basically.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's just money to go into a pool for other people to have some money, except for us.
And see, that's that.
No, it's not. It is part of California State's budget. It's not so the money is coming from the budget for California, the state itself. The laws that are being enacted based on the report that came out of the commissions that have been put up by Senator Bradford, those bills have to have someone able to implement those laws. People gotta work. They have to be able to put people up to work. So in order to put people up to work, you gotta have money. So the budget and the Black Caucus, the director of the Black Caucus, and other people in the state of California who are part of the Democratic legislators said, hey, we want to allocate $12 million to do the legislative work to implement reparations legislation based on the laws that have been put forward. So that $12 million would make sense if I need to pay people to do that. But if you're talking about reparations and what was came out of the commission's work for the report, that number has not been solidified yet, and we're not going to see it at $12 million. We're going to see a bigger number, but it's going to have to come through the bills that have been put forward. That means if I'm going to put that link, like I said, down in the Purple Pill Newstoter, so that people understand there's levels to this. It's not going to be this grand number that they're going to be like, boom, in the state, I'm going to just give that to you. It's not like when we say, okay, well, if we had to go to the federal government and get reparations, the federal government can say, I'm tasking IRS and I'm going to create a number and I'm going to deposit money directly. The states work differently, right? So just like the states can deposit money when you pay your state taxes, this is going to have to be something done via legislation, which is why Senator Bradford put those bills up in there, detailing the bills based on harms. And you want that particular type of thing because that's going to cover you by law, so that no one like a Eric Bloom can come and challenge you once the real money comes and starts to hit people in the way we are actually calling for. So I really I want people to don't be so hasty to knock something when you hear it. Like, keep your guard up at all times. And you already know I'm very passionate. Keep your guard up at all times, your head on a swivel. But understand, when you're talking about government state funding in this particular situation, is not the same as what's actually going to come out of that commission's report with harms. You're going to see politicians, hopefully, who are representatives like Senator Bradford, who was on that task force, put up bills, and they're going to lay the bills out based on the report so that people can get their money in regards to the descendants. Now, the Freedman's agency, I am a native from Inglewood, and I also know the poverty and the issues that are plaguing Cali right now. And if you ask me today as a descendant, would you want an agency that could divvy out programs to you aside from social services? The answer would be yes. Because what we need is specific. What the people on the ground when it comes to homelessness is specific. Shout out to Shirley down, always down there with the homeless population and showing love to the people out there and doing the work on the ground. She is a cosmetologist, a private business owner, and she gets government funding. I need us to understand that. You're not going to get out of this without getting set aside money from your state. And if you don't want to have that conversation, that's cool. But I'm telling you, you're missing out on where the real money is. So with this being said, the $12 million is not for reparations. It is to do reparations work based on the bills that were put forward by Senator Bradford. And it is a positive. It is not a negative. And I'll end.
All right. FBA Goddess, was that a pretty decent, was that what you were looking for, or?
As far as what she was saying in reference to paying, someone in reference to looking into that, I understand that part. I understand that, but the only thing I was saying is that, we have just gotten into paying people to see about giving us reparations for years. So that's the only thing I was saying. But I understand where she was coming from. I understand that.
All right. Thank you, FBA Goddess. Let me go ahead and get to Black. I'm gonna get to you. Let me get to a couple of new speakers, and I'm gonna get back to you. Let me get the daughter of Zion and Art, and then I'll get to you. Daughter of Zion, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that. Okay. Rilla, I agree. Okay, I want to be positive. I do. But the only thing that stands out to me in that article that Newstoter put up is I see Lori Wilson's name. I see the Legislative Black Caucus. These people stood up, a couple of months ago and gave a press conference talking about reparations. I don't remember them at any of the hearings out here. They didn't come. They didn't testify, but they're here for the money. The only thing, I get it, that yeah, the work, you're talking about work being done. I trust no one. And they're going to suck this money up. They're going to suck up the $12 million and do what with it? Hide it in a nonprofit somewhere, saying they're helping move forward legislation for reparations. I feel like the $12 million should be going in the pockets of the people. Period. I don't know. Just get it there. I'm not with, this legislative Black Caucus, organizations, nonprofits. They're coming to suck the money because the money's getting ready to come. Because I don't know how to put something in your Jumbotron Newstoter, but I had a feeling that Gavin was making way for money here. He's been cutting, money different places. And I took a screenshot and I sent it about him cutting even the police funding. So he's finding money. I feel like he's finding money for these reparations out here. That's what I feel like he is doing. He's got 2 more years in office, but there's people coming to suck the money. I can't get over that part, Rella. I can't get over that part that there are people that are going to come, and they're going to come to get that money, whatever money is being supposedly used for forwarding reparations. And that's the problem that always happens with these type of situations, especially with reparations now and it moving forward and there being laws here in California. I just feel like the money needs to go in the people's pocket, period. Get it there quick. But I think we have to watch everyone, watch them like hawks. I'm watching Lori Wilson because I don't know who she is. Where'd she come from? Out of nowhere. As soon as all these laws got passed, and I'm not feeling it. And no, it's not enough money, but it's a start. But it needs to go to the people. Okay, I'll land. I'll listen. That was my point exactly.
Thank you.
Right, and so can I respond, Newstoter? So I'm in agreement with you, daughter of Zion, and Lori Wilson is she is a Democrat out of Sussex City. She is an assembly member, and again, she is the chair, and all she did was give a statement in response for someone who's representing the Black Caucus in California, saying that the $12 million for reparations resources is a win. So the $12 million is not going to go to the Black Caucus. It's actually going to go to, again, because I have not found anything to say specifically in detail. I can present this to tell you how they're going to spend the money. But if there is legislation for lineage people to get that money, then that's what we would want, right? To your point, it needs to go to the people. Now, the Black Caucus supporting the resources being a win or making a statement, fine. We've had plenty of people that showed up at the 9th hour who we would never thought to see. I mean, what's her name that has the pancreatic cancer right now? Out of Texas, she showed up and
is it Barbara Lee, isn't it?
No, from Texas.
Sheila
Jackson Lee. I'm sorry, Sheila Jackson Lee.
I didn't know she had that. Sorry.
Yeah,
she actually showed up in the 9th hour at the end of the commission's work, and she came and she spoke, and even during the hearing, and she gave her submission. All I'm saying is we've always been faced with people who have been a little adversarial when it comes to their position on who should get reparations, and people who have a difference of opinion. But the mere fact that the $12 million should be slated for lineage-based work, or people who are going to do the work who are of lineage-based, that to me is where my focus really is. If you're going to give out $20 million or any money, I don't care if it's $1, that money should be definitely for people who are going to do the work, who are going to actually implement the legislation being brought on the books, and they should be people of the lineage. And that I don't care if people make noise on the side. I'm focusing on, like you said, where is the money going and how is it going to be used, because that's going to be important, because the next lump sum of money, we need to make sure that the same thing happens. So I'm in agreement with you. There's definitely no argument there. But Lori Wilson, she's been around for a minute. She's been for reparations, and she understands lineage based. I will again. Let me put this. It's 2 articles. One by the Observer, and then the state, the California. The other one is the Senate for California website that actually has the bills that Bradford put forward. And so I just hope people get involved and follow. And then and that's really kind of it, really. I mean,
Oh, thank you. Can I just say one last thing? Yeah.
Hey, and daughter Zion, I put that article up in the jumbotron too. So
Okay. Thank you so much. And I'm just saying that, you know what? I get real passionate. I get excited, y'all. I'm sorry. But I'm like, I'm on it tonight. And I need anybody in California or wherever you are, be on it with this lady, because the money is starting to flow. Yeah, I guarantee you the money's starting, and Gavin has started flowing the money. So I need to know where every penny's going to go. They got to account for that. They got to account for it. I need to know. We need to know. So just follow it, please, everyone. Stay on it. You know. Thank you, guys. Okay, I'm landing.
thank you, daughter Zion. Appreciate you, brother. That was a good convo y'all had. I want to mention, guys, next week there will be no spaces, no podcast. I will be visiting family. So next week there will be no spaces. There'll be no podcast. We'll be back the week after next. So I just want to go ahead and give everybody a heads up on that right there. If you don't see you'll still be getting the news on Twitter. We'll still be sitting at it. And guys, visit newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking Black news, but there won't be any spaces and there won't be any YouTube videos next week. We'll be back the week after next. So just want to give the family a head up on that. Art, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I kind of agree with daughter. I remember when this task force first started, they started talking about cash payments right out of the gate. Then I remember.
Art, can we get you a little bit louder? You got earbuds in anything?
No, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
All right. Yeah, but I remember when the task force came out, they were talking about cash payments. I could post articles, but I think you guys can just look them up. And then somebody got $50 million, and then they stopped talking about cash payments, and now we got this, whatever this stuff is, from Senator Bradford, who, if you follow the money, takes money from Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is the beneficiary of slavery. It's a conflict of interest. He's also running for lieutenant governor. And the governor takes money from Wells Fargo. Well, the whole damn task force, minus maybe the agent who takes money from Wells Fargo. I won't go down the whole thing. Either took money or have some kind of association from Wells Fargo. I don't know what we're expecting out of that situation, because I think this money is just going to get used to, toe the line / last Senator Bradford / Gavin Newsom into the next election. That's what I think this is for. Anytime you have Joe Biden himself saying, "What do we need studies for?" I can put that. I'm gonna put that in the comments. Joe Biden himself said that. Yeah, we're still doing these studies. We're still doing studies 150 years later, and we still need studies. Who believes that shit? Like, there's anybody in this room? I'll remind you that.
Hey, try to watch your language, Art, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll remind you that Asians had the least voter turnout 4 elections out of the last 8 elections. And not only did this administration give them an executive order, but the previous administration gave them an executive order. Where is this voting? Where is this task force? Where is this pushing? And then they got a crime bill after the George Floyd epidemic. They got the crime bill. It mentions specifically Asian ancestry. And it was George Floyd. And anti-black hate crimes was at an all-time high. Like, it's like 4 times the nearest one. I don't know who was next. It was like maybe Jews or something. But it was like 4 times. And the Asians got a hate crime bill. I don't know how many times we're going to keep getting trick bagged until we, like, acknowledge that we're going to have to not ignore certain things. When you see, and I'm not saying don't trust anything, but when you see the trick bag ahead of time, when you see Wells Fargo donate to almost, Newsom took a big chunk of that. The co-chair was involved with $50 million, and then Stephen Bradford's taking money from Wells Fargo too. It's just like I'm the only one like duh. And when cash payments got removed from the tape, it wasn't like it was never offered. They literally removed it off the table and added whatever the hell this shit. Excuse my friend. Whatever this is. So I'm just gonna land it here because I just think common sense needs to start kicking in at some point, because I think all these task forces, Memphis has spent $5 million. That's where I'm at on the task force. And then they say immediately, at least I can give them props on this. No cash payments. They come out with saying that, like right off the top. But at least they had the cojones to say it, so we don't have to sit here and we know what it is right off the top, but we can start pushing forward. I think this California thing is way worse than that because they're like they put it on the table and they took it off. I'd rather you at least be upfront with it so we know the battle we have to fight. But I'll land it.
All right. Thank you. Art, let me go ahead and get to Black majority state, and then I'm going to get back to the new speakers. I'm going to get to no taxation, and I'm going to get to cash as well too. Before I get to no Black majority state, but those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, $Newstoter. For those that do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Please go ahead and support Black business for those that are able to. If you don't have if you don't have Cash App, if you don't have Venmo, PayPal, you can go ahead and become a member on the newstoter.com platform. That's up in the Jumbotron on the far right-hand side. For as little as $1.75 a month, you can support Black-owned business. Guess what, guys? We have not got anybody this month, in the month of June, I don't believe, to go ahead and sign up for the platform. So we need to go ahead and get somebody to sign up for the platform before the month of June is out. So for as little as $1.75 a month, it is a recurring payment. You can support a growing and the largest Black-owned curation platform today in America, guys. For those on YouTube, the customer link is right on the actual screen. You guys can go ahead and click that. It takes less than a minute to go ahead and sign up, and you can support us monthly. But for those that can't, once again, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Support Black-owned business. Support Black business that supports other Black business. On that note, let me go ahead and get to Black majority state, and also support funded socially Black majority states social media platform. Support the content creators. Support the actual places where you guys can go at, and you can be at home on your own platform, and you don't have to worry about getting kicked off, getting suspended, having rednecks constantly mess with every post that you got. The minute you say something to them, then they kicking you off the platform as well too. So support Black-owned business, support Black content, support the news, the media, support all of this stuff, because we need your support, guys. We can't do it alone. We always talk about doing it, but hey, we're not doing it. We want to have a voice of our own, and you got to go ahead and you got to support Black-owned business. Black, you got it.
Okay, yeah, let me second that, man. Support Black-owned business for sure. And thanks for allowing me to speak again. I'm going to be really, really quick. So these governors have so much potential power in conjunction with the legislators. The governor in Louisiana, like just this massive sweeping legislation. It may not be the best for Black Americans living in Louisiana, to be very, bluntly honest about it, but that's the way American politics works. You get in position to have a majority, and you get the power to essentially do whatever it is that you want to do, based on the state constitution, the U.S. Constitution. So I found a Yahoo story that says California just passed this budget. This is like a brand new thing that's out. Their budget just essentially got passed. It's just under $300 billion. That's a significant amount. They're dedicating $1 billion to homelessness. they had to make cuts. And this is the important part. The budget plus the cuts. If I was the governor of California and this reparations was on the table, I would make across the board cuts of 5% and all the way up to 10%. Segregate that money into a reparations fund and then do with it what you will. And I would make that a permanent thing until this debt was paid. The 800 million or 800 billion that the task force recommended works out to about $400,000 per person, just doing the quick math. So that's a significant amount. That's higher than even those who have done federal calculations in terms of what individuals would receive. So that's a really good recommendation. Don't know if the legislators will come to that same number, but it's certainly a good number for them to at least start thinking about. To add into the fact that the states get federal funding and municipalities get federal funding, Evanston has gotten a bunch of federal money. A lot of states, everybody got money during COVID. Let's be honest. They were throwing money out like crazy, trillions and trillions of dollars. But they also are getting all these housing program federal funds. Federal funds for this and federal funds for that and federal grants for this and federal grants for that. So I just wanted to come back to verify that, yes, even Little Evanston, which in this one report says that, I want to say it's 129 Black residents got that $25,000 so far. I remember when it was just the housing program and people were on spaces. I think the woman who's in Evanston was saying how only 2 or 3 people got the housing voucher. But since it's turned to cash, it appears that it's picked up. I don't know if the lawsuit put like an injunction in place where they're not allowed to give out any more money, but we'll see how that plays out ultimately in the courts. But I wanted to also add this. DC also just recently announced that they are putting together a reparations task force. They have a $1.5 million budget. Now, DC is very unique because it is a district. It is not a city. It's not a state. It's not a county. It's a federal district. It's a very unique thing on the planet. I think there's only 3 of these on the planet. And I know the Vatican is one of the other ones. And so DC, their budgets have approval or oversight from Congress. It's a very unique situation. So for them to be able, as a federal district, to put reparations on the table, to put a commission in place, and then as the commission goes through the recommendations and they get to a point or place in time when they're saying, okay, we got a reparations program and we're going to start giving out cash programs, whatever it ends up being, this is really the closest direct connection to the federal government in more ways than you could even make in terms of a state, because again, the Congress has oversight over DC as a federal district. So, most people probably won't make that connection or at least understand how important that is in terms of getting to federal reparations. Because to be quite honest, this is almost like you got one foot in the door for federal reparations when this DC thing happened. So again, I said it earlier, I think the reparations are moving. I think they're moving forward. I hope people get what they truly want to get out of it, whatever that ends up being. And I do think federal reparations will occur. But it's still just a really big Band-Aid in some places. In other places, it's a medium-sized Band-Aid. In other places, a really, really tiny Band-Aid. But if someone cuts your hand off with a sword and you're bleeding out, at some point you're gonna need a little bit more than just a Band-Aid, no matter how big it is. And I just hope that as people, think about reparations, that they also realize that that's the reality of it at the end of the day. And thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm going to step down, let others come up. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Black. Let me go ahead and get to no taxation. No taxation. How you doing tonight?
I am so tired, but y'all are really informing me because I really wanted to hear this space because I know it's important information. I want to say, Black, you are hello to everybody in the room. Excuse me. Y'all know sometimes I be rude and my manners have to do it because I just come straight and just start getting to it. But Black, you are absolutely correct. The problem DC has is it's a bastion for Pan-Africans. And so who's talking to who and who's doing what? See, that's the only thing. But we'll see. Time will tell, and it'll all come out in the wash. I want to ask Rella a couple of questions. And I do want to say that I agree. $12 million, if they could get $400,000 apiece, Black Americans in Cali, they should have done that and been done with it, But I think also, too, that, Gavin Newsom is using this as political football. He might be trying to use it to launch himself. Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. The other thing about it is I wanted to say that not only is it important to watch the money, where the money goes, you have to watch who the money goes to. That Wells Fargo information part is very important information, and that needs to be on the table for the people out there in California. They need to, if they don't know it, they need to know it. And because we all know the history of Black Americans at Wells Fargo, it ain't a secret. They've been sued countless times. They don't have a problem getting sued, and they continue to do their dirty deeds. But Rella, what I wanted to know is, what is the next step? Okay, so if this $12 million is going to get the legislation, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense, because who's going to write the legislation? The legislators that get paid to write legislation already? I mean, I don't understand it. But anyway, what would be the next step? And how long a process? Did they put a time stamp on it? Did they say anything about, we're going to do it? It's going to take a year, or whatever. But this is going to be very important, not just for the country, and Californians. But this is going to be, and this is an important step for white America. It's actually more important for them morally than it is for us, if you want to know the truth about it. And, we're owed and it's a debt and they need to pay it. And that's how we look at it. So, we're basing our situation on facts, but they have to base their situation on morality. So let's always remember that, because these are not the most moral people in the world that came over here and conquered this country. And other ones, these are outlaws that we dealing with. And tell them out there, just, watch everything, because that's all you can do at this point is to watch everything. And but also too, really, if you didn't know about Wells Fargo, let them know, because that's important information. They can use that to their advantage out there. And I'm going to leave it there.
All right. Thank you. No taxation. Let me go ahead and get to Cash. Cash, what's going on tonight?
Yeah, peace. I was hoping just to get straight to it. And everybody knows I'm Black American, both sides of my family, meaning my father and mother eligible for reparations, my little brother, my little sister, and myself. The Freedmen's Bureau that they suggested with SB 1403 that mentioned a fund that would pay out cash reparations. It was supposed to come from the general fund for special security, economic insecurities or something like that. Anyways, it got scratched from the update version of the bill. So I think this $12 million is the allocation for the Freedmen's Bureau. They're only supposed to have two sides to the Freedmen's Bureau. One is supposed to be a genealogy branch, which some Black Americans have argued we don't need because there's already genealogy offices in California in general. But I'm not trying to stand in line behind a Mexican looking up if he's an Aztec or a white person looking up if they're related to Albert Einstein. All right. So this is an office specific for us, and I believe it's going to build more branches. But this $12 million is an initial. $50 million was mentioned in the conversation earlier. That was San Francisco arguing for an Office of Reparations in itself. They were only allocated $4 million in the proposed budget and only received $2 million according to the updated budget that was actually approved. So the leader of that, I think her name is Cheryl Davis, she was in the news saying that instead of creating an Office of Reparations, she's going to go straight for cash payments with that $2 million and give it to our elders first and foremost who are 70 and up. And she said it wasn't a lot of money, so it's going to need to be a bigger amount for San Francisco. But I don't like us mixing up the $50 million demand from San Francisco and the state of California, which knows that we're owed $800 billion at minimum for how much they pillaged us, allocating us $12 million, and that's getting confused. I wanted to swing around to Evanston real quick in D.C. and then hopefully land back on California with a final point. Evanston real quick, it was 16 people initially that had received the $25,000 for housing repairs or down payment on the house. Now, ever since March 2023, it's direct cash payments, and that number of people is now 200, which means $5 million has been spent in the Black community to address redlining in Evanston. And now they're being sued by the conservatives to make it more specific. By the way, they're only suing for $25,000, which I don't know, see that how you want to see it. In DC, years ago, there was a 6-hour conference to mention Bill B250152, I believe. I'm off the top of the head. B250152. This bill I champion because unlike California, it only offers 12 months to study, and it also will be holding private industry accountable. Private industry is going to be held accountable for reparations and studied in the case of Washington, D.C., which I think is very important. California didn't do that. And also, they, from the outset, said that they would create a reparations fund. So by the time they're done studying, they'll already have a piggy bank to start cash payments. Now, the 6-hour conference was all about how they mentioned that it was going to be the sales tax in D.C., 0.5% of the sales tax, and 0.5% of the DMV fees would go into the reparations fund every single year, of which, the sales tax was $1.5 billion last year, so that would be about $200 million, and DMV's on like $1 billion. But come to find out, these fees are levied against low-income people. So we're trying to prevent ourselves from paying our own reparations, right? The DMV fees are disproportionately levied against Black Americans in D.C. So we're not going to use the DMV fees, and we're not going to use the sales tax. But during that conference, people suggested something that Evanston has been acknowledging and weaponizing. And there was a white lady who was a leader of a lawyers' union that suggested, she said that any houses over $1 million that are sold, there needs to be a tax on that because it's essentially addressing white flight and having the payouts not come from Black Americans. And there was other ideas mentioned there, but I just wanted to shout out that they're going to be holding private industry accountable in DC's case, as well as creating a piggy bank. And now they got that $1.5 billion on top of it. That's Mayor Duffy, I think he's a mayor, Mayor Duffy, who we could look up further for that. My last point about California is if y'all look at this budget, it goes down for a ways, but I took a screenshot specifically of a fund allocating for a commission on Asian and Pacific Islander American affairs. They have 2 bullet points under them. Appropriates $374,000 in fiscal year 2024-25 and $280,000 ongoing from the general fund. So that's quick math. That's $500,000. And it also reappropriates $1.25 million from the general fund of 2021 Budget Act to allow the commission to continue to administer higher education work. Essentially, they're going to be improving student outcomes for underserved Asian and Pacific Islander communities. And that funding is going to go for expenditure all the way up until June 2027. So while we're learning about the $12 million that we have set aside for us so far, I think we should also, be learning and reading and becoming more and more politically savvy to understand that there are budget allocations that go far into the future. So when San Francisco demanded 250 years of payments tied to the area median income, we shouldn't have looked at them so crazy. We should have said, why not 400? Thank you, Newstoter, for the space, and I'll be listening to those who are giving corrections and facts to the space.
All right, thank you, Cash. Let me go ahead and get to Let me get to Miss T. Actually, I'm coming back to you, Rella, and daughter Zion. Let me get to Miss T since she's a new speaker. Miss T, how you doing tonight?
What's up, Newstoter? Hey, family. How is everybody? Happy Hump Day Wednesday.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm a little bit late to the room tonight, but I had to do some research on this 12 million. And thank you, Newstoter, for always being the beacon of light and, showing us what we need to be focusing some attention and direction on. So what I found out in my research is that this 12 billion is 12 billion. Yeah, Lord, let me speak it into. Okay, 12 million is for for them to use as support for the 15 bills they already have in their state Congress to push before August 31st. So this will be funding, like maybe they need to hire some lobbyists to go and talk with certain, to drum up support for those 15 bills that they currently have sitting in Congress that they're trying to make into law. So that is what this specific $12 million is for, is to support the approval of those 15 bills that have been presented. And that's what I wanted to come up and share. And I'll share the article in the comments. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Miss T. Let me go ahead. Shout out to Miss T as always. Let me go ahead and get back to you, Rella, daughter of Zion. Cash, I see you back up here as well, too. Professor, if you want to speak, I know you up here chilling. If you want to speak, Professor, go ahead and get your hand up as well. But go ahead, Rella, you got it. Rella, I want to ask you a quick question, too, before you started. I know you currently don't live in Cali anymore, but of course you're born out there, you grew up there and everything else. If the reparations come through in California, would you be eligible to get it, or since you don't live there anymore, would you not be eligible?
I sure would see a check in my account.
Okay, I just wanted to check to see, because I know some people were saying like, "Hey, I heard somebody say that in the space before. They're like, well, if you don't live in California anymore, like people like, well, if you move California, like, well, if you move, then you don't get a check, anything like that. So I just wanted to see.
No, I sure would. And the crazy part is that even if I wouldn't have been eligible, I would still get the money because my family's still there. My parents, my mother's bones, grandmother's bones are buried there. So, again, you're talking about someone. I am proud of my state in regards to what California and the commissions have done. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of fighting to go through, but and there's still more work to be done. And think about it, like just to lay the framework of something and it can be improved. That to me is a win because we have never gotten this far. Our ancestors didn't get this far, and we need to go further. But I want to just point out a statement that Senator Bradford put out on the 23rd of June. I'm just going to read it. It says, and I posted the link again down in the purple pill. It says, although we wanted more, I'm deeply appreciative of the $12 million in the state budget for reparations. Even in these tough fiscal times, this funding is a clear reflection of our priorities and values as a state. This money will start to stand up the infrastructure to pay for future reparations. He says, we as the California Legislative Black Caucus made the case that the harms of slavery and the racist public policies aren't healed. They still exist today and impact Black Californians and Black Americans. He says, we see it all around us in lower home ownership rates, educational achievement, health disparities, and a significant wealth gap. I look forward to working with our legislative leaders and the governor to implement reparations. We often say that if something isn't in the budget, then it doesn't matter or even exist. This clearly states that reparations do matter and will be a priority in California going forward. This is just the beginning. And that is a statement that is posted on the California Senate governor website. So please go through that information and read it. And like I said, keep your head on a swivel. Don't ever think that we as a people should challenge for something to be better and for it to definitely the language to reflect what we want to see. But we also have to make sure that we have the proper and correct information. Shout out to Cash. So that way we're not just making boastful statements that actually aren't true, but we're actually making statements that are going to actually pass the knowledge to people to get active. That's really what we need to see. Shout out to also Black Majority State, because again, he pointed out if you don't have representation, that's one part. But if you don't have power in the state to protect what it is that you're proposing, that is another part. And we need to keep those two in mind as we're fighting for protection and for redress. And I'll let you.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let me go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I could interject because I kind of set back. So I was gonna.
Yeah, go ahead, Professor. Go ahead.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the space, man, because I've been listening to everybody tonight, and man, y'all making some great points. Let me say this: I'm just wondering, with this whole situation in California, are they really looking to help Black Americans? That is my concern, because I have family in California too. Some of the family has moved back here to Alabama, which I think when it comes down to it, most of them will be back here soon. The majority, or I should say everybody, will be back here soon. But for the family that's still living out there, my concern is, are they doing this for truly the Black Americans that are still out there? Or are they trying to include everybody else into this? This is just my one concern about the 12 million so-called for the programs. Because when we talk about programs, are you trying to let everybody else be a part of it? And that's where I have to draw the line. I only want this 12 million, if they're going to put it towards so-called programs, to be for us only. Because this is about us and us only. Everybody else is out. Okay, we've been caping for everybody else too long, which is why we're in the situation that we are in. So I just want to make sure that this is all about us, and it's not about trying to, give Black Americans, but then we're going to include these Asians, and then we're going to, of course, include these Hispanics. We got to make sure everybody else is out of this. And I wish... Total, what's her name again? Camilla Moore. I wish she.
Talk about Camilla Moore.
Yeah. Who is Camilla?
Camilla. I'm sorry. Shit, I had Ernie.
You felt like you were mixing up. What's that evil from the Dalmatians movie?
Corella. I know you talk about I can't think. DeVille or something like that. Yeah.
Corella DeVille. And Camilla Moore.
Hey, look, if she's screwing our people over, then that's who she is. She is.
No, she's not. She's not. No, she's not.
Okay. Now you sure about this, right? Well, you sure about this?
Yes, I am.
She know her name. First of all, hey, Newstoter, let me. Oh wait,
You sound like
I'm
you.
done, my family. I'm done, y'all. Go ahead.
Okay, because real quick, we got a new speaker up here too, so I want to get to the new speaker as well. But go ahead, real quick, Cash. I'll let you say something real quick, and then I want to get the daughter of Zion and the new speaker.
First, there was a lineage vote among the task force. Professor, did you know about that lineage vote that happened? The 5-4 vote. Also, the California Constitution, you can't create something race-based, so it has to be lineage-based. As well, there's a Freedmen's Bureau that we're speaking of, or at least I brought up in this conversation. And Senator Bradford only has lineage-based bills. So although the California Legislative Black Caucus suggested 14 bills from the 111 demands that were part of the 1,100-page reparations report that was done by the task force over 2 years, they've only done 14 bills so far. And really, the 5 that Bradford mentioned, 2 of them have not passed, and 3 of them have. One of them is creating a Freedmen's Affairs Agency, which would have a genealogy branch where you'd walk in and get your lineage and get your check. That would be the only reason it exists so far. That's all it says in the bill. The other thing is, California. Okay, there's a California reparations calculator. I think it's sent to your DM. It's not officially endorsed by the task force, but they were arguing that our harms are multifaceted and over multiple years, at least for those who have survived those harms. Even if you live for 1 year in California, that calculator can show you how much you could argue you've lost due to over-policing, due to, there's 5 different tabulations there anyway. Let me see, I mentioned that there's 14 out of 111, and yeah, and I mentioned focus on Bradford, yeah. So it is lineage specific. Oh, one last thing. That Cali reparations calculator, I think everyone should take a look at, even if you're not a Cali resident and never have been, because it around how much we're talking about you've lost due to over policing / mass incarceration or business denial of business loans, things like that. And I would argue in some states it's actually worse than California, and we'll be able to argue those numbers bigger thanks to them. But my last point is that Cheryl Grills, who was on the California Reparations Task Force, although I don't agree with her because she's a Pan-African, she was trying to argue that all you have to do is live in California for 9 months and be a descendant of American slavery, because after 9 months, California taxes you, even if you aren't a California resident. And she said if that's long enough for them to tax you, it should be long enough for you to be eligible for the check. So I'd like to go by, having a birth certificate from what state you're from or what city or whatever. But there'll be multiple ways that we're still arguing who's going to get access to it, including those who've been displaced from the state due to being priced out or gentrification. Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem. Let me go ahead and get to daughter Zion, and I'm gonna get to anti-socialite. I can see you up here, Ian as well too. So I'll get to you as well. Go ahead, daughter Zion.
Oh, I was just going to say one thing I think Cash mentioned earlier, and maybe I don't know for sure about the Freedmans, something they nixed out of one of the bills. So I was thinking sometimes that's how the trick bags start. That's just me. I'm just going to think that way. So they were, how some of the bills didn't pass. But I just feel like, okay, where'd the $12 million come from? Was it supposed to be for, Freedman's Bureau or whatever? I don't know. I'm just saying the money came from somewhere all of a sudden, and all of a sudden here comes the Legislative Black Caucus, who has not been vocal in this whole situation since 2020. And I was going to say, Torella, it's up to the people. It's people power. We're the ones that have to push and force and make these politicians do what they need to do. And to Professor, when you say, do they want to help Black people out here in California? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but it wasn't them. It wasn't the Democrats. It wasn't the politicians. It was the people. And some of ADOS, and then some people broke off and did their own thing. But the bottom line is that this was a positive for California, right? And it was the people power. It was not Democrats, Republicans. It wasn't any of those politicians. But they do have to do what we say. We're citizens. We vote, and they're in power, and they're supposed to listen to the people and do what we say. And also, Gavin, pressure on him can get him to veto some stuff that we feel that doesn't work. I personally feel that the money should all go into the people's pocket. A lot of those bills, I think, are just pork, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere. He can veto and get rid of things. We got him to veto wanting to extend this whole task force. People didn't want that. And Newsom said no. So he listens. He's forced to listen, but he listens. So it wasn't the Democrats, them, it's us. And we have to stay on them to get what we want, which is federal reparations. But right now I'm in Cali, and hey, I'm pushing for this, which is cash. They can give us 6 figures, even if it's a one-time lump sum. I don't care, but they can do it. It can be done. So I'll land my plane. Thank you, Newstoter.
Thank you, daughter of Zion. Let me go ahead and get to anti-socialite. We still looking for some donations to the platform. So anybody got $1 or $2 you want to donate to the platform, $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. Like I say, next week we will be off. We will be on vacation. So for those that can support the platform, for those that can afford it, it is greatly appreciated. If you got $1 that you can spare to the platform, guys, that is greatly appreciated. We will put it to use. Let me go ahead and get to anti-socialite. Anti-socialite, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to respond to Professor. This is not my first time listening to someone talk about the reparations going on in California. I have the privilege of listening to another sister speak about the reparations, and she was quite firm in saying that there would be some sort of tracking or genealogy or something like that done. So, like, it's not just going to go to anybody that walks in and say, hey, I want to collect reparations. It's specifically for Black people. And they're going to be implementing that through genealogy or DNA testing and actually making sure that you track back to some form of slavery through documentation or whatever you can provide, whether it's you providing documentation and then making sure it's legit, or because there are some people still alive from that era. So, I mean, slavery has ended, but we also have to remember Jim Crow and all that other stuff was right after that. And it wasn't, some of those people from the Jim Crow era are still alive today, and they can speak on their experiences and growing up and connecting the dots to the ancestors and things like that. So it's not just going to be like a free-for-all where any ethnicity can just come and collect a check. It's going to be documentation required, DNA required, things like that. I'll land my phone.
Thank you, anti-socialite. Let me give a shout out to my girl Goddess Michelle as well too for her contribution on Cash App. I see we got us a celebrity up in here as well too. Yoshi, she's a female battle rapper, guys. So if you get a chance, follow her. She's doing a thing on the hip hop tip as well too. So shout out to the young sister. Let me go ahead and get to Ian. Ian, what's going on with you tonight?
Hey, peace, brother. Peace. Thanks for letting me up. I was just curious though. It doesn't seem like anybody's concerned, but I'm still thinking about whether or not there's going to be a challenge from different folks based on this being unconstitutional, based on this being a race-based, whether it's lineage or not, a race-based, in terms of the language, race-based reparations program. So I'm not necessarily so. I think, you're talking about, getting money for studies and different things. I'm still not so that this reparations is going to be able to get to the people based on the language, because I'm Freedman, and it doesn't have Freedman specific language.
And come on, bro.
Okay, hold on real quick. Let him finish, but go ahead. Hey Ian, are you on? Do you got earpods in anything, Buzz?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it sounds like you're kind of far away. If you got the earbuds in, take them out, and we can hear you clear.
How do you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay. Yeah. So that that was part of the issue. I know that it's called the Freedman's in terms of the what do you call it, the Freedman's Bureau or whatever. But as we know, that's mostly symbolic and not necessarily based on the Freedman status as we have come to understand. So there still is the race-based language within the bill, and again, there is going to be a challenge, and I haven't heard anyone necessarily speak about that, whether or not it's going to pass that challenge with the racial language still being in it. I mean, because we're living in an age where Biden's education what it is for the loan relief, just got shot down and proven to be unconstitutional. So we're living in an age where everything is going to get challenged, and I don't know that again the language is going to pass the muster, because it's not based on, from what I know, the Freedman status. It could, I don't know, but it's not Freedman status specific. And again, when you say the Freedmen's Bureau, that's just a name and not necessarily based on the understanding of the Freedman status that Freedmen have come to understand. And not only that, when you talk about the language, the money going to the study. I mean, the original study, some people had gave pushback because the original study was very, very broad in its scope. From the LGBTQ perspective on down, it did a broad scope of study, and it was not specific to Freedman. That was one issue some people had. That not necessarily that I have an issue with, but some people had an issue. Is that why is there a LGBTQ being studied within this bill? I don't necessarily. That wasn't necessary. It's there, and I think if you're talking about getting more money, I think there's also for sure. You have to be for sure. If you are wise, you have to understand that money is going to be, in terms of more studies, that money is going to be going to other people. That's been how the precedent has been set going forth on these certain matters. So I'll land there.
Thank you, Ian. I know, and now because I know they're going to want to respond to this, so I'm gonna go ahead. But I pretty much thought this was lineage based out there in California, but I'm not going to go into it. I'm gonna let somebody else.
I said lineage based is fine, but it's still based on racial lineage. So yes, it is lineage based. Yes, but it's still based from the racial language within the bill. So saying it's lineage does not eradicate the fact that it's racial based. Go ahead.
Ian, can you name the bill that you read and are speaking on behalf of right now that has LGBT language and racialized language in it? The number?
Can I speak on the number you said?
Yeah, what number is it? Are you talking about ACA 135, SB 1331? Which bill are you talking about? Just so we all.
You're saying that you don't know which bill it is what you're saying.
I'm very aware. I want to understand if we're talking about the same thing. Can you just name the bill you're saying?
So what you tell me which bill has Freedman status?
Oh my God!
You tell. Don't start that old pussy boy shit.
All right. Which bill? Real quick, y'all. Real quick. The language. Let's keep it clean tonight. Let's not do any personal insults as well in here as well too. So let's keep it clean, everybody. Let's keep it clean.
You're gonna talk to me like a grown man tonight, but again, you tell me any bill, right? Any bill that has the Freedman status as its basis.
SB 1331. Let's all stop and read it together. And I sent it to your inbox again. And nothing you call me will take me off my square. I'll tell you right now. I'm
not at odds with you. You at odds with me.
Not at all, sir. Not at all. Not at all. Look, I'm looking at it right now. I'm reading it aloud for you and for the state. I just told you. All right, looking at SB 1403 now. SB 1403, Section 1, Part 14. It says B, descendants means descendants of an African American chattel enslaved person in the United States, or descendant of a free black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century.
Okay, and what's okay? And your point is what?
That's what Freedman Bureau.
And then can I jump in, Cash?
But he ain't read no bills.
It's okay, because he said talk to him like a grown man. So if you have never heard of HR 613, then you would not have recognized that across the United States on the federal level, that the terms African American as well as the term free persons of color were also designated in that bill, which classified the newly emancipated and or emancipated persons across the country who had fought for their freedom in the states, on states court, Supreme Court, were classified as freedmen. So when bills are created now, today, language in regards to status includes someone's ethnic and nationality, which is American, or identified racial group, which actually collectively combined by record of history and by federal government would also include the freedmen. So if you're talking about language in bills that have been written by Senator Bradford, along with organizations and people who also were part of the commissions, that language is actually in each and every one of the bills that were presented on the assembly floor by Senator Bradford. Now, I get it. You might not be clear yourself, and you might want to open the door for someone else to believe that there would be a challenge because you don't see freedmen spread all out through the language in your liking, but it's not true. I think the way that we kind of handle each other, or you have handled Cash, was inappropriate.
I didn't handle anybody. He wanted to play like he wanted to.
But it was inappropriate.
Like I'm a child, but I'm not.
He wasn't, because he added. He only rebutted.
Okay, real quick, guys, because we got too many people talking at one time. So, Rella, I'm gonna go ahead and let you.
Well, I just want to clear. I wanted to clear one thing up.
Yeah, because I just don't want to get a back and forth going either.
I'm definitely not doing that. But I just wanted to clear one thing up.
Unless it was muted.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the back and forth. So all I did was make my statement.
I don't know. The mute button keeps hitting it keeps hitting the mute button. But go ahead, because we're gonna go.
I just wanted. I'm not even gonna.
But she can't talk to me about how I was talking to another person on stage. I'm not about to have that conversation.
Okay, well, I'm moving past that.
Yeah, let's move past that and let's go ahead.
I'm moving past that. Honestly, Newstoter, I wanted to just address that one point, is that it is the language, it is in the bills. The other thing is daughter asked where the money had came from. So California, again, their budget that they had just solidified at their $297.5 or $6 billion budget. $103 million of a one-time funding for victim service programs. $12 million came from that money, from the set-asides, for the set-asides from that $397 billion for their California's budget. So California state budget is $297 billion. They set aside $103 million for funding for victims and service program. That $12 million came from that program for the allocation of reparations legislative work that's going to be done. That's where that money came from.
All right, real quick, I want to get to a new speaker too. Let me get to Keith, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the Cash and antisocial. I got you, Cash. Let me go ahead and get to Keith. He's a new speaker, and I got you next. Go ahead, Keith. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing real good. I'm going to yield because I want to go back to Ian, but I'm going to let everybody talk before I get back to him. I'm going to yield.
Okay. We'll come back to you real quick. Let me give a shout out to Rita and 400 for their contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna get to Cash, and I get the anti-social, and I'll come back to let me get. I got a new speaker up here. Let me get because I want to hit the new speakers. Let me get to that Negro. I just see that Negro up here, and then I'm gonna get to you, Cash, and then I'll get to that Negro. I'm sorry. I get to that Negro, and I get to you, Cash. Go ahead, that Negro.
Yes, sir. Salute to Newstoter. Salute to Brother DJ. Salute to everybody in the room for sure. Peace, power, and American Negro reparations, specifically for the Black American Negro Freedman, who built this country with slave labor for the lands promised in Special Field Orders 15, January 16, 1865. Cali Dam set aside $12 million budget for Black reparations programs. Just like I said last night, I went to the Democratic Convention here in Washington State. All that is lip service until they put a 15 with a T behind it at minimum up on that board, and they can say 500 million or whatever with an amount due of blah, blah, blah. That's cool, but we want the big figure to be blunt and plain, and then we can knock off the money as we go. Like I said, I think all of these people are grifting right now. I've heard all kinds of stuff. Kamala Harris in an interview, Kamala Harris or whatever, she was talking about, they can't be cosplaying us. Who Trump talking about? He's one of us, or he relates with black people because he went to jail, and just talking a whole bunch of gibberish. And the point is, let me speak for me personally. I'm not voting for anyone who doesn't have specific tangibles for us in mind. I don't care who it is. If you talk about this, you talk about that. Now everybody's talking about UBI, and I'm like, bro, if everyone gets UBI, our people will still be 400 plus years behind everybody else because of that gap that already is pertained. Until America pays this debt, this outstanding debt, we cannot go forward as a country. And again, I will say, let's do this in chronological order. Let's do it. Let's heal everyone. I'm with that. But let's do it who comes first. And the Black American Negro Freedman is up next. So look out, y'all. I'll yield right there. Thanks for the chance to speak, brother.
All right. Appreciate it as always, man. Thank you for coming up here. Let me go ahead. I see we do have Miss Moore up in the house, so shout out to her. I see her in the listener section, so shout out to Miss Moore. I hope everything is well. Andre, I'm trying to bring you up here, but right now we got some speakers, so when somebody drops down, I will go ahead and bring you up here. If any of our speakers that's not speaking right now want to drop down, I see that Negro dropping down. Andre, we're gonna let you come up here, but please, no babble tonight, no babble. But go ahead, Cash, you got it.
Yeah, peace. So when the task force was done in California, right? They gave it to the legislators, right? And Bradford is a legislator, so he suggested bills himself. But I have the link open for the 14 bills that they suggested initially, and there's 111 coming, which thanks to Black Majority State, asking questions helped me understand better that that's what the long play was. Even when it was just 14 bills, I saw that it was smarter than just one individual reparations bill that could just be fought and shot down. Instead, there's 14 different ones. But with that, there comes bills that might seem nonsensical. I'm looking at one of them. It's AB 1929, expand access to career technical education by creating a competitive grant program to increase enrollment of descendants in STEM-related CTE programs at high school and college levels. There's AB 3131, career education and financial aid for redline communities. There's ACA 7, which is by someone named Jackson, which amends the California Constitution to allow the state to fund programs for the purpose of increasing life expectancy, of improving educational outcomes of, or lifting out of poverty specific groups. Now, let me pause here. The specific groups part, in my understanding, the guy who wrote this bill is openly gay. And he's saying that we're going to track not just who are Black American based on the lineage of slavery, but he also wants to have separate tabulations because he believes that there's a disproportionate amount of LGBT that end up homeless, or a disproportionate amount of men who end up, you know what I'm saying, ex-veteran or whatever it is. He has tabulations. There's LGBT in that bill, which I'm going to say again, is called ACA 7. Never mentioned it once because I don't fuck with that bill. I think it's a distraction.
Language. Go ahead.
Yeah, normally I don't ever curse. But so Senator Bradford has 1050, which is specifically for us to get housing back from eminent domain. It's Bruce's Beach times 1,000. So add however many zeros you want to add to it. And that bill is passing the legislature right now, alongside us having a Freedman Affairs Agency and us having a funding source for the Freedman Affairs Agency. Now, my last point is that, and it was brought up earlier, there was a section removed from SB 1331, which is the Fund for Reparations and Restorative Justice. When it was scratched out, what was scratched out is this. It says this bill would actually, I don't know if I have to go back a point just to make sure that people understand again that this is lineage based. It says descendants of African American chattel enslaved person or descendants of a free Black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. The bill would require the controller to transfer from the Special Fund for Economic Uncertainties to the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice, an amount equal to 6%. So it doesn't even have a set figure. It's as much as y'all doing each year, we're going to get a percentage of that, of transfers from the general fund to the Special Fund for Economic Insecurities. Now, unfortunately, this has been scratched out. And that's why I believe that this $12 million is what's bringing this back into play. And I say that finally because these 14 bills I just mentioned to you don't really mention reparations cash payments except for Bradford's. The other ones are speaking about the Crown Act, about making sure that people in college sports get paid. Those things have nothing to do with this 12 million. So to me, it's foregone. They scratched out the economic uncertainties part, and then we got this 12 million, and it's going towards our Freedmen's Bureau for genealogy to make sure no one's going to falsify our claim except us getting our lineage and receiving our check in that same office. Thank you for letting me speak.
All right. Thank you, Cash. Thank you. Keith, I know you said come back to you. You got your hand up? Are you ready now?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
All right, go ahead.
How's the audio? I want to make sure I'm in the golf course.
It's pretty good. It's good.
Okay. I respect everybody's due diligence on what they done, but I want to keep the eye on the prize. And we're going back to where we need to prove that we are descendants of slaves or we owe that reparation. These hurdles we need to jump through, Native Americans never had to do it. Japanese, which we didn't even have to do nothing. Well, we did jump Bob on them. I'll take that back. But the Jewish, we had nothing to do with that.
Well, they dropped the bomb first, but go ahead.
But yeah, they did drop the bomb. I'm going to have to correct myself. Jewish people, we didn't have nothing to do with that. But they didn't have to go through the nitpicking and the fine-tooth combing of why they were owed that. We shouldn't have to do the same thing. We can look at historical pictures, movies, videos, or whatnot. We shouldn't have to explain that. We are descendants of freedmen. Chattel slavery was real. Everybody knows it. Illegal immigrants come in right now and don't go through this kind of vetting to get money right now. We shouldn't have to go through that. My belief is, as simple as it may be, the best way to get somewhere is a straight line. And that's how we need to handle this. Forget the articles that said that XYZ says this, according to this. No, we don't need that. We need everybody to stand on their square and say, no, you just like you did it for the Native Americans, just like you did it for the Jews, just like you did it for the Japanese internment camp people, do it for us. Period. We don't have to waver from that. All the slick talk and coming with statistics and all that, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But like I'll repeat myself, the best way to get somewhere is a straight line. And I'll land my plane with that. Thank you, Newstoter.
No problem. Appreciate you, Keith. Andre, you're a new speaker. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, but this is a topic, Andre, we're talking about, and I'm letting you know, we're talking about the actual budget out here in California for the reparations program. I'm going to let you know we're not talking about over in Europe. We're not talking about in Australia and all other places. So we're staying on topic here. So
we are talking about immigration, so we're going to deal with
No, we're not. We're actually not talking about immigrations. We're talking about reparations and the actual budget.
I'm totally capable of grasping what's going on right now on the topic, but to share my thoughts as I see it.
But no, you can share your thoughts as you see it, as long as it's related to the topic.
Everybody can share their thoughts, right? And if it's different from the last person, if I disagree, it doesn't mean that I'm off topic.
Yeah, I'm pausing. I'm muting it real quick. I know what you're saying. I'm saying the times you come up in here, normally it's never on the topic. So we want you to stay on the topic. So go ahead, sir. You got it. It is unmuted, right?
Yeah, we got it. Thank you, Newstoter. Yeah. That's my thing. Is critical thinking implies that we have to question the thought process. So, if we're talking about the $12 million budget for reparations, we can discuss through critical thinking how that process is going to go. Right. The straight line thing where we don't ask questions and we don't talk about it is convenient, but that's, we're dealing with the reality of the situation. There's multiple people involved and there's different opinions on how we go about the reparations. So one of the reasons why I came up was because one of the speakers brought up, I don't know what's so funny, but one of the speakers brought up the percentage of the country's budget or the revenue, the holdings, right? The assets that the United States holds, the GDP, whatever wealth there is, the reparations would come out of a percentage of an annual percentage yield
of the transfer.
Okay,
yeah, California.
I think that's interesting because, for California then, but it's a model for how we would want to see it, right? I guess that's the idea.
It was scratched out, bro. It's not even a point for this conversation.
Let him go ahead real quick, Cash. Let him go ahead.
We're already reflexively trying to dismiss it as not addressing the matter, but it's because the way I'm addressing it is different or is in disagreement. And so that's the whole
Real quick, y'all. Let him go ahead and let him get it in, everybody. Let him go and let him speak. And let's see what is this going at.
A little harder when it comes to it. You got to first.
It should be. It's a double mute. Let me know if it unmuted.
We're good. Yeah, we got to first let the idea be presented, all of them, right? Different opinions on it, and then deal with them on the basis of it before we find easy ways to dismiss it. Oh, that's not on top. It's such an easy way to dismiss it. What I'm saying is, and this is the point that I was going to make,
But any point that I make, it should be heard on its merits. I'm saying that if we're trying to get, because the point was made in the context of we would want anyone who is damaged to get repair, right? We want everybody to get repair, but we want our group, the descendants of chattel slavery, to come first, right? So the repair in and of itself, I'm with. But how we're getting the repair in this instance, I disagree with, right? The idea that the United States government is producing a pot of wealth that we should take a percentage of, I take umbrage with, because it is an entity that is in the first place responsible for a lot of the damage that's currently still going on to the group that we want resources for, and to all the other groups that we say deserve resources from this government. Just we should be in front of them. What I'm saying is, if the pool that we're trying to get from is damaged, in other words, the way that the United States is making the money is illegit. In other words, we need to replace the government before we start taking money from an illegitimate government who's producing the production of the wealth is tainted with war, with violence, with illegitimate decision makers that have no business in there in the first place. They're skimming off the top, they're giving it to their friends, they're mismanaging it all the way around. So just to take the wealth as if it didn't come from anywhere and say we want to get in the front of that line, I have a problem with it. We have to deal with the reason why there's been a maldistribution in the first place. We can't just.
What are you talking about, man? What we talking about reparations here in California? What are you saying that because of the United States government that people, black people, shouldn't get paid reparations?
Blood on the hands. In other words, the money has to come from somewhere. It's coming from corporations that are acting outside of the.
Check it. It's blood money anyways, because the country was built off of the backs of people called black people. Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about. Even like, okay. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, Andre, to go ahead and wrap it up. Cause
I appreciate it. 5 minutes to do some shit like that, man. Get out of here. Shit.
Look, again.
Language professor, come on.
Dismiss y'all. If we have a difference of opinion, it's going to serve us better.
Andre, you never stay on topic when you come in the room. You never.
I made my point.
Your point has nothing to do with the room, man. It never does. Okay, thank you, Andre. Thank you. We're going to the next speaker. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Andre. Thank you. Antisocial. No, we don't. No, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough, Andre.
And that's the reason why we haven't gotten anywhere in the first place. It's because the government isn't working correctly the way we want it.
Okay,
hold up, y'all. Andre, who is we?
I had to put Andre down. I'm sorry. I because he's gonna keep rambling on and stuff like that. I mean, let me go ahead and get the antisocial.
Hold on, let me jump in there, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the only other intellectual brother up here. You know what I'm saying? What happened was, Total, you didn't understand the centrifugal force of how the moon is connected to the sun and why the waters flow through the way they do and able to come out your thing. See, that's what I was trying to tell you. But you ain't want to listen. See what I'm saying?
I mean, it's every time he comes in here, even when I give him the little pep speak to let him know exactly, it doesn't matter. Like he's gonna do it his way. Like just Jesus. Antisocial. Antisocial, like go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, real close Newstoter. How much you want to bet he got one of them big ass pedals in back of his house? Some big ass HBCU Sigma Phi Beta Paddle in the back there. How much you want to bet?
Simplify, baby. Simplify.
Simple, whatever. I don't rock with them like that anyway. But you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my Lord!
How much you want to bet?
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. Let me go ahead and get to anti-socialite. Anti-socialite. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi. Okay. I just wanted to touch base on what Ian said. I think I may have understood what he was trying to say, but the delivery wasn't accurate. So I think based on the things that have been going on with the constant challenges in as far as race-based bills and things that from civil rights, things that we've had for decades now, that are now being challenged by people like Project 2025 is this new thing that they're implementing. They've been trying to implement it for years, but it's got way more traction than before. And if you don't know what Project 2025 is, you can go on my page. I share a lot of stuff about that. But in that bill or in that manifesto, they have these sections where they want to eliminate anything that's related to race as far as like DEI, inclusion, civil rights, things like that. They're like trying to rewind the clock and undo all that stuff. So I think that might have been what Ian was talking about, but I'm not sure and that was his concern when he was trying to discuss it with the floor. But that was my concern at one point, like people that might challenge and try to swap this stuff down that you guys are working on. I'm in full support of reparations for everybody in every state that was a descendant of slavery or has some connection to the things that have been just our Black history and our struggle as being Black Americans or Freedman. So I totally get his concern. I'm just not sure if he delivered it right. And then to top it off, he got a little bit combative with Cash when he suddenly just asked a question. And that was like, what bill are you talking about? And I think Cash only asked that question so that he could help him walk him through the bill and just be able to explain the parts of the bill that he brought up as a talking point that concerns him. So that's what I got from this. I don't know if that I'm accurate in that, but that was what I got from me listening. But I do understand his concern, and I have those concerns based on my research and the things that I've been hearing about Project 2025 and the things that the Republican extremists are doing to try to do away with anything that they feel is wokeism or promotion of Black people, Black and brown people. So, I mean, there are a lot of challenges going on. And, like, if you're not sure what Project 2025 is, you can look at my page. I've been posting a lot all day. So, that I'll yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Anti. I see we got my man Scipio up here. Scipio, what's going on with you tonight?
Hey, shalom, bro. Shalom to everybody in the room. And
Peace.
Hey, Newstoter, I gotta tell you, bro, a lot of stuff that you be putting out there on those posts, and I respond to them, you on fire, bro. That's why, like I said, I stay. I mean, if there's a newsletter, I might, subscribe to your newsletter where, however y'all do it, you send it directly to us every month because, some of your stuff just be fire. But with that being said, I'm going to say this. I mean, that question you have up there, and it's hella problematic. Not that you put it up there, but what California is doing. And just like everybody else sitting here, that whenever it comes to other groups, I don't care what other group it is, there's no discussion, there's no panel, there's no set aside to figure out what to do with it. They just produce. They need to do the same thing with us. They just need to produce. I mean, that $12 million price tag there is an insult a lot, because Bruce's Beach alone is worth, at least 4 times that. And then that Allenwood or Allendale, that little community just north of LA County, there's hundreds of millions near that, because, that was a black community, and a thriving black community out there at one time before, those people, the dominant society, came in and shut it down. And as far as Project 2025, and I'm not taking any shots at nobody who brings it up, so please don't take it that way. But whenever the libs come at us with that, Project 2025, it sounds quite draconian and maybe even to some degree, dystopian like. But, if someone goes on that spiel about it, you listen to them and say, damn, that's part of my language. Dang, that sounds like what we've been living through with Jim Crow and this faux civil rights, legislation for us, because there's no place in the world where a pig can walk up on your own front porch and blow you away and still get to go out on patrol the next day. And that's just one example. There's been a whole lot of stuff going on in Newstoter. So we're in Project 2025. So what are people so scared of? Like, okay, so they'll actually put that on the books and they'll start talking about it, carpet bombing all of us with that, and with the dressings and markings of that. I mean, Trump don't scare me. Project 2025 don't scare me. Joe Biden don't scare me, because we're already in it. I mean, I still think about Ida B. Delaney, not Ida B. Wells, but Ida B. Delaney in Houston back in 1990, when a drunk HPD officer, off duty, albeit, but drunk and carrying a weapon, did her in. I mean, just gave her a third eye, and he only got a year in jail. So there are a whole lot of situations that I can bring up that we go through that, 2020, Project 2025 might in fact be a relief for us. I'm not, I don't dance on party lines and I don't support any of it, but I'm just saying, quit. We don't need to be playing scared. We need to stand out there and walk bold with our chest out and say, with our chest and us men, with our, that, hey, we're not going to take it anymore. We demand reparations. Give us direct payments, run us our change, and that's it, point blank, period. End of discussion. Pay us our reparations, the end. I land.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you coming up here tonight, as always, and supporting the platform as well, too. Let me go ahead and get back to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, Newstoter. Thank you for letting me speak. And
like for 10 times, 11 times of your money.
Something's wrong with you, Professor. So I think Antisocial for her submission and actually, trying to kind of, lay some honey on the meaning of the minds and concerns in regards to deciphering what Ian was saying. I think we all came to the same consensus, but a lot of times you have to tell people how they're coming off, because they're not coming off in a way that communication is being received. And I think that's what I heard. And some people don't like that. Some people kind of take it as an offense when you try to tell, and they don't want to try to readjust and then try to communicate. So I hope the response that and that your submission response, along with the information presented in regards to the bills that are being presented to California, one, by Senator Bradford, are just. Second of all, I keep saying that the $12 million is not reparations money specific for the report of harms, it is set aside money from the state of California's GDP budget that was allocated from a program called the Victim Services Fund that came from the GDP money that California state budget just solidified. Their $1 billion budget, only $103 million was given to that Victim Services Fund. And out of that $103 million, $12 million was given for reparations legislative work, not necessarily reparations itself. That's totally different. Second of all, Project 2025, whether we're living in genocide or not, I would never vote for someone who is going to solidify giving people the right to do the things that they're doing today. The reason why we don't have the protections we don't have today is because we are not in the majority power. We do not have majority police departments around the country. You do not see Black police officers or Black American police officers running up and into people's houses, talking about they don't know who they are and shooting them and gunning them down. Yes, we have Black incidents with Black police officers, but not in the lens of what's happening around the country. Now, you do not see Black people stringing up white folks behind their trucks, dragging them down the street. You do not see any other nation or any other group being lynched by Black people in the street. We do not have power and state power, but Project 2025 is a way to show that the numbness of our community, even to the point when we're starting to talk about facts of information being presented word by word, that we are numb, that we would actually want to even give in to people who want to put things on the books for others to practice freedom, to go about harming us. It's one thing to see that genocide is happening in our country, whether it's the local, state, and federal government, has been benign neglect. It's another thing to now allow another group of people to get into positions of power and authority over us, to now solidify legislation to go ahead and approve of yet again another form of Jim Crow, worse than slavery conditions. So there's 2 or 3 things happening, and it's a double-edged sword. And I refuse to be numb to any of it just because the things are happening. And so I hope that it's not just the physical fight that we keep doing, but it's also our mental fortitude that we keep refining among each other, so that we don't fall victims of numbness to the genocide that's happening. So I'll end there, and thanks for the space, Newstoter and DJ.
All right. Thank you, Miss Rell, as always. Let me go ahead and get to Ian. Ian, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a problem with challenging what I'm saying, but again, I'm not talking specifically about whether or not there's a Freedman Bureau, because I mentioned that. I know there's a difference between the Freedman Bureau and actually the bill, which says who is getting what, and throughout the bill, you do have a lot of racial language, Black, race, all of that is discussed, and I'm, no, I'm not, I read some of it, a while back, I'm not interested in going back over it again. No, it's a lot. But anyway, the point is, if we're going to be honest, racial language is throughout the bill. I put in the Jumbotron, where, Naheem said, I didn't know he said this. I don't know, bro, the language based on the screenshot I've seen is very vague and unclear. I'm not sure if he's talking about with regard to the Freedman Bureau or the actual bill itself, but I'm talking about the bill itself. The point is, you can add the lineage aspect, but the reason why you had to add the lineage aspect was because it was racially based. So they didn't go back and change all the racial language that originated. They didn't change that. They just added lineage to delineate. So all of that hasn't been cleaned up. And if people were really serious, right, they would do based on the precedent that was set, based on the Native American freedom, right? The precedent has already been set. All this double talk and you know what I'm saying. So my issue, really truly is that we're living in the age of talking about mental fortitude. We're living in the age where nobody has it, right? You have people in control of these things who are educated, they read and do all, but they don't have the mental fortitude and actually to stand on the things that are necessary. There's a lot of double talk and a lot of excuse making, and a lot of roundabout. You talking about the way you come off. I didn't come off a way. I wasn't attacking anyone. I don't know anybody's position on anything. So there's no reason for people to come off their mic and be in their damn feelings, right, about anything that I said. I'm not against reparations in any way, shape, or form. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form an enemy. But I do know, again, based on what's happening in this country, and you don't want to take it, right? Because you want to live in the pie in the sky and whatever. You want to pretend like there's not going to be a challenge coming. That's up to you. But I know based on what I've read thus far in the past, right? I've looked at it. It's been a long time. There is racial language all throughout this bill, and it's going to get a challenge, right? I don't know what degree or how serious that is, but it's going to get a challenge, right? And I put in a jumbotron where they were talking about what is it? It says behind the mask how California got to the 1.2 million. But the point is that when you're doing the studies, right? So many studies, and you're talking about race this and race that. Again, people who are intelligent, lawyers, right? Because we're not lawyers, right? People who are lawyers, right? And who know how to go about destroying bills and so on and so forth. They're going to be able to pick up on these things, right? They're going to be able to look at the racial language. They're going to be able to call it out and find a loophole to where it's going to be illegal. That's simply the reality of it. There are people that are able to do that, and saying I'm not saying I'm one, but again, I brought up that concern because it is a concern. Because anybody with eyes can see that there's racial language throughout, right? Yes, it does at some point say Freedman this or whatever, but it's not clear. It's not clear, and it's not specific. And lineage again had to be added.
Real quick, Keith, let him finish. Go ahead.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If you got the mental fortitude, you can stay on your bike and you can wait till I'm finished. So again, what I'm saying again, the reason that the lineage had to be added is because the bill and all the information was based on race. That is going to get challenged, right? Again, at some point,
Ian, your volume keep going up and down.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you be loud and then you go lower.
Okay, how you sound now?
You sound all right.
Okay, yeah. So again,
so hurry up.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that based on how we know, right? Again, if you understand how things went, the lineage had to be added because it was all racial language throughout, and it was ambiguous. So the lineage was added, but they didn't go back and do the due diligence and erase all the racial language based on what we saw coming after the fact that came down the path with regard to the racial challenges. So again, that's just the reality of it. You may not like it, right? Or whoever may not like it. That's not the point about liking it or not, or trying to argue with me. You show me where in the bill, right? I'm not talking about the Freedmen's Bureau. I don't really care about that. But what I'm saying in the bill, in terms of who this is going to, you show me where it says based on your Freedman status specific, without any racial language that this is who it's going to, and I'll be convinced. I mean, it's really that simple.
Or you fight.
All right. Real quick. Okay. Let me I'm gonna get to you, Keith, next. Let me get to the new speaker. Everything, guys. We coming towards the tail end because DJ's got a space coming at 11:30. So I'm gonna get to the hands up here, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna close it out for the night.
That nigga sound like a teller. You sound like a teller.
Hey, come on, Professor. You killing me here. Come on. All right. First off, I tell everybody stop the cursing, stop cutting people off, let people speak. You don't have to agree with them, then just go ahead and raise your hand. And if you want to challenge what the person says, and just go ahead and challenge. Now, come on, now y'all supposed to be the regulars in here too, man. Y'all know we got YouTube already bothering us for little crap, shadow banning us and everything else like that. We trying to go ahead and get it on over there. So we streaming this. So y'all chill out, man. We're gonna be closing this space out in a second because, like I say, DJ got the late night space where you can say whatever you want to say in there and everything else. Here we trying to run somewhat of a professional, as much as professional platform. We understand we on social media and we trying to be free. We'll let people speak like that, but at the same time, these videos and stuff get knocked on YouTube as well, too, guys. So we're trying to give these white people as little ammo as possible to go ahead and knock us out. So no problem, Professor. Okay, Professor. Let me go ahead and get to everything, and then I'm gonna come back to you, Keith.
Good evening, everybody. I don't really talk in spaces a lot, but I just wanted to kind of touch on the subject of the 12 million for the reparations program. I'm really excited about that. Like, we are the.
Hey, everything. Do you have an earbuds or anything?
My phone was in a charger. Is that better?
That's better. Go ahead.
Okay. So, what's going on in California is really significant because it's the first of its kind. We're really establishing the infrastructure for what's going on here in California. And it's really exciting because this could happen all over the nation. I really think the difference is in other places is that they don't have a group like the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California. They have been able to keep us, the organizations, connected and in these senators and assembly people's behind. So that is the difference. Like, what if we had a CJEC for federal? Like, what would that look like? How can we support to really push the federal? So what's happening here in California, I hear us get a lot of flack we get a lot of flack. What we have is not perfect, but we do have lineage base. And, all over the country. Let's get it. So thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get back to Keith. Keith, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter, my fault. Ian done left the room, right? I think he done left. If I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I think I don't see Ian up here. He was.
I see Ian on my screen. He just doesn't have a mic by his name. It just says speaker.
Okay, yeah, I don't see him.
Well, I got a quick question, Ian. What does your shirt represent?
Yeah, I don't see Ian up here. Oh, okay, now I see him requesting to come up here. We talking about shirts? I don't know what his shirt represents.
Yeah, what does your shirt represent?
What you want, bro? What you think?
He wants to know what your shirt represents, Ian.
What do you say? This is what I'm saying. Y'all are children, bro. Y'all are some real child. You know what I'm saying? So I really
that didn't answer what I said.
I'm really not interested in engaging in anything except for, can you show me again in the bill where it's specific without the racial language, where it's not going to get a challenge?
Can you show me in the bill as far as the same? You have Native American, all they had to do, you have white people can say they $5 Indian and get where do we need to go through all this in history for paying for things that the quote unquote white people, we got to dance the jig to get it? Tell me in history, I'll sit and wait.
Okay, Keith, we're gonna go on to the next speaker, that Negro, because Ian spoke for a minute. So let me go ahead and get to 'cause I don't think Ian wants to speak. And then we got other hands up here, and we trying to close this out because, like I say, DJ's got a space coming out at 11:30. Let me get to that Negro, then I'm gonna get to Cash, and I'm gonna get to Scipia as well too. So we're gonna get ready to close this thing out. That Negro, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for the opportunity to speak again. This will be quick. I just, Brother Cash down here, so I just wanted to say something directly there. Brother, I do not name bank. That is January 1st. We quit all that. So last night, right before you left, like that Negro read I read it. That's a cool bill. I understand. But I stand squarely on the Negro square. That's it. Specifically because your bills and all of that stuff has to get legislated, has to go through the process. We don't got time for that. Special Field Orders 15 was a war order. All that has to be done with that. First of all, show that the treason that it was. Second of all, any sitting president, all he has to do is write an executive order. Bam. That is reinstate Special Field Orders 15. That is the most direct and precise way to get our just due. So I'm not here to argue, though, whether Freedman, and I don't know if you noticed, I acquired the word Freedman and put it in my opening info speech. I'm not against y'all. I'm not against anybody. If you fight for our people, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just doing it in the lane that I find to be the most logical lane. So I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue, bro. I'm just here working for our people. So you don't gotta call me. You can shoot me an inbox, and I'll respond. I got your thing. I read that for sure, but there's no ill will for me and anyone working towards real repair for our people. So I wanted to say that directly to you, so you heard it from me. And I'll get right there. Thanks, Newstoter.
No problem. Thank you, that Negro. Let me go ahead and get to Cash. Cash, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, peace. I appreciate that, and to you as well. I apologize for leaving the space yesterday and kind of saying that y'all had read the Harvard study, because what we were talking about is that two different people who wrote a study about different types of reparations payouts, and even some that I didn't consider reparations, which was the insurance industry and how it's funded. So they weren't studying what happened to Black people. We know this because it's been 400 years. Our grandparents told us that. Our grandparents didn't study what types of reparations plans have happened. They did not. So this is a very powerful, and it wasn't a bill. It was a study in that last space. Now, in this space, we're not even talking about a bill. We're talking about a budget allocation from a floor report. So when people keep saying the bill has racism, I'm like, are we talking about two different things, Newstoter? You know what I'm saying? And now let's get to, again, it's 14 bills, I said, and 111 coming. So there's one, and I mentioned some of them specifically, and I'm going to say it again. There's one called the Crown Act. That's not reparations. It's talking about people need to be able to wear whatever hairstyles they want in higher education and sports. I never said that I'm advocating for that, and I don't know how they're going to spend any money to even do that. So I believe that that's not going to be a part of the 12 billion. They're also doing, I told you, Assemblyman Jackson. He's trying to create a specific bill called ACA 7, which he believes is going to track and make sure that the life expectancy of Black Americans, but with different tabulations based on our different socioeconomic breakdowns. And one of them is sexual orientation. So if you want to go against him, go against that bill. But the ones that are lineage specific, not the Crown Act, not the one about solitary confinement, but the ones that are written by Senator Bradford, who was on the reparations task force for 2 years and voted on behalf of us having lineage-based reparations
and has that written into every bill he suggested since, and 3 of them are passed in the legislature now, and this $12 million just got sat in our lap and more coming. Dean Ern Chemerinsky told all those task force members as a California University professor that California has its own constitution and can't make race-based politics. So what Ian is bringing up, we've already addressed years ago. So it's not a problem now, except for the bills about gay people or whatever, or the bills about the Crown Act. So if y'all want to get distracted by those bills, which was the whole point, let white folks fight on these other things that have nothing to do with our checks while we're getting our money through the Freedmen's Bureau, which is lineage-based. It's the descendants of those who are owed the check. Grocery stores, none of that has to do. Now, Andre came in here talking about some wild shit. I don't want to speak to it too long. I want to say I spend dollars. That's what I spend now to feed myself. And you got to fix your own 2 broken legs first before you worry about policing the entire world and trying to take down global white supremacy. And on the flip side, I don't get how you don't think that us getting a huge cash influx isn't undoing the military budget in a way. Or why can't we take our money in mass and move it from the country, move it into crypto? People don't got strategies. They got problems that don't even exist that they're trying to solve. All right. And so my last point is this. Please, y'all, take a look at what that Harvard study was, because it's explaining a lot of different ways that we're going to receive our check, because there's ways that it's already been happening for multiple communities in America. I have international examples. Someone mentioned a lawyer. There was an international law attorney on the California Reparations Task Force, like, who's still going and advocating for federal reparations for us today. You know what I'm saying? On our behalf today. There's Black American lawyers online who are suing African nations that owe Black Americans. Not all Black people in America. They're being lineage specific. But instead, we're still stuck on a lineage vote in California years ago. But shout out to those who are fighting for delineation, because that is very important. And I just want to specify that for Senator Bradford, we've already straightened him up. And he's already straight on the bills that I'm mentioning. And I'll mention those last 3 bills and pass the mic. Not anything else I'm considering reparations. But these 3 bills, if anybody has a problem with the delineation in them, they can have a conversation. The 3 bills are SB 1050, SB 1331, and SB 1403. All them other ones can kick rocks.
All right. Thank you, Cash. Scipio is going to be the last speaker for the night, and we're going to be closing this space down. Remember, guys, like I say, next week, I will be on vacation. I will be out of town, so I won't be doing any spaces, any podcasts, any YouTube. So I check with DJ and the late night space crew. I'm sure they're going to hold it down, but next week, like I said, I will not be. And tomorrow night, we do have my boy Black Pressure. He has a space. He has his first space going on. So everybody make sure y'all come to that space as well. But next week, all next week, there will be no Twitter spaces. There will be no podcast. So, but you guys still stay up to date on the content. Visit the site and also check out the articles when we tweet them on Twitter here, guys. Support Black content. Support Black-owned business. Like I said before, support us on Cash App as well for those that can. And Juneteenth passed, guys, and I was a little disappointed that we did not get at least one sign up for the actual month on the Newstoter platform. So hopefully in the month of July, we can at least get 1 or 2 people to sign up to the actual platform and support us for as little as $1.75 a month. I'm going to continue to drum that home. We need to build our base up, and we need support from our Black people, our Black businesses, and everything else, our Black fan base. We got Scipio right here. He supports right here on Twitter. We got my girl Tata down there. She supports on the actual Newstoter platform. So we need more people. Trouble, she always supports. No taxation. Of course, Mr. Black Majority State, Professor, that Negro. So we need more people, and we need to build our own base up besides these white-owned platforms as well, too. That's why I'm trying to get, I'd rather actually get more people signing up to Newstoter for $1.75 a month than to spend $10 even on Cash App. I know people say, well, damn, it's more money on Cash App. But yeah, what happened to Cash App and them shut down one day? We got our own platform, and we're trying to build it that way as well, too, guys. But we understand everybody's not able to. And if you can't, You can always support on Cash App, $Newstoter. But we want to go ahead and start getting people to go ahead and sign up and become members of the actual platform, and they can support that way monthly, affordable, for as little as $1.75. Now, if you want to pay more than $1.75, we go all the way from $1.75 to $10. If you want to pay $2.50 or whatever, but we're trying to say we got it ultra affordable for our people as well too, and we need that support to grow the platform, to grow the base. And we're doing this slowly but surely, but we can't do it without your support and your help. I'm going to go ahead and get to my man Scipia last, and then we're going to go ahead and close this space out for the night because, like I say, DJ and the late night crew, they itching to get to it. Scipia, go ahead. You got it.
Thank you. Again, Newstoter, shalom to everybody. But now, what I want to say is this, and I hope I'm not stepping on nobody's toes, but with all these bills and legislation, that's the only paper that's moving when it comes to us. The paper we need moving are those dead presidents, moving through our pockets and through our bank accounts. I mean, like I said, no shade to any of that, but we're not going to let them, those white heatsies, tell us how we're going to get reparations. We're going to tell them. I mean, right now, I personally, along with a lot of other people on the Black Street, we're going after, again, trigger warning, we're going after the NAACP and COBRA and NARC. We're trying to get them shut down. I've already put money towards, that effort. And you don't think I'm going to be out there at the courtroom to get my testimony? They've been out there for at least 100 years getting nothing done. The Black Street galvanized, I would say, in 2014, but really started moving stuff in 2017, and then really started making dents in progress, in their progress, and, breaking the toes of their status quo in 2019. So pretty much in 5 years, we got more accomplished than these do-nothing Negro agencies that supposed to speak for us have done in the past 100 years. The only thing that they're known for, and that train is never late, they will be at the next NAACP summer luncheon, the NCOBRA Sunday brunch, the winter, fall, solstice dinner. They'll make those, but yeah, so they're walking around here getting fat belly and, blowing up a lot of bathrooms. And that's fine. Let them do them. We don't have to be a part of it. We don't have to support it. And Ian, all I'm going to say for you, brother, is you sound like you're rehearsing or, auditioning to be a Roland Martin flunky. I mean, all that stuff you're doing, that is counterproductive to the Black Street, FBA, which I personally identify as, or Freedman, Black American. Dude, you are toxic to our movement.
This is Twitter, bro. This is Twitter, bro. Stop that, bro. Grow up.
Man, okay. So did I interrupt you when you were talking? Please let me get on.
Yeah, even with that being said, we don't got time to disparage each other. So move on, man. Anybody else want to speak real quick?
Yeah, let's end it on a high note because Scipia, you're definitely one of our loyal followers, and Ian is a Freedman as well too. So guys, like we all on the same team. We may just have a different way of going about, like that Negro said, we just may have a different way of going about things, but we're trying to get to the same. We all have the same goal in mind, everybody. We all want to get the reparations, and I know at times it's getting really, really frustrating with all the hurdles and obstacles thrown our way. And believe you me, it's going to be more hurdles and obstacles thrown our way as well too, guys. But we got to go ahead and we just got to go ahead and stay on our path and not let these distractions and everything. And we got to remember too, we all we got. I know we talk about Twitter and this and that and everything else, but a lot of our people outside of social media, if you go talk to your family members and friends in your neighborhood and community, they don't know what the hell you're talking about. They're like, what are you talking about? It's like you speaking French to them. So we got to go ahead and push this ourselves. And eventually, those of our people, we're not going to ever get 100% commitment from everybody, but we'll get enough people to go ahead and get aboard and everything else like that. And we'll push forward, man. We're going to go ahead and we're going to push this thing forward. We're not going to let little distractions distract us, man. We got a goal in mind. We're motivated. And believe you me, we are making headway, everybody. We're making headway. And it's catching on not only nationally, but globally, So let's just keep going ahead and pushing for it, and if we have a different point of view than somebody else, let that person keep their point of view. We keep ours. And, hey, if we can't meet up, then we'll go our separate ways, but we still going to try to get things done. DJ, I know you got your hand up. Go ahead real quick, and we're going to end this thing for the night.
I'm just piggyback off of what you just said. And with that being said, don't come to the late night space if you ain't about trying to wake this stuff up. There you go.
Yeah, real talk, guys. Like I say, I hope everybody, especially with the 4th of July weekend come up, guys, you guys be safe. I know that's next week. I won't get a chance to holler at you guys. I may try to peek my head in the space if DJ has one when I'm on vacation or whatever, but we'll be back the week after next, everybody. So you guys be safe, peace. Continue to support the platform, support Black-owned business. It's a bunch of Black-owned business owners in here. Support my girl Tata, support DJ, support Black Majority State, support all our Black-owned business owners up in the space as well, too. It's a bunch of y'all up in here. I'm not sure everybody who has a business, but definitely support our people. We need it, and we're all we got. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and end it, and I thank everybody for coming to the space tonight. Check DJ out later. He's getting ready to start up at 11:30, I believe, so y'all come to that space, and that's the late night. That's the late night, the graveyard, the early morning, get to work type space because they go a long time, guys. So y'all go and check them out. Peace, and we will see you the week after next.
Peace, everybody. Newstoter, enjoy your vacation, bro.
Appreciate that, bro. Be safe, everybody.
Happy vacation.